That would be awesome. So how's everybody doing on this warm Fairbanks spring day? This morning they had the Beethoven 5K at the university, and it was freezing running that thing. So my name is Mark Herman. I'm the Associate Dean of the College of Business and Security Management, and welcome to the 2023 UAF Arctic Innovation Competition. It's presented by Usibelli Coal Mine. I would like to start the competition today by thanking all the students. I see some really young ones here. That's exciting. All the competitors, the volunteers you see around, and all the community members. So thank you for coming, and to the judges up front. It's really an exciting day. We've been looking forward to this for a long time. We are proud to showcase the top ideas from the Arctic Innovation Competition by some of the brightest people in Fairbanks, around the state, and those who have traveled from the lower 48. It's one thing to have an innovative idea, but it's a much bigger deal to present it here today in front of all these people in this crowd. At the end of the day, some competitors will take home larger cash prizes than others. However, we want to recognize the amount of effort and imagination it took just to get to the finals. Cash prizes aside, competitors gain valuable experience of presenting their ideas in public. No matter what the results are, we encourage all competitors to take their ideas and move them forward to the next level. This competition started a while ago. I think it was 12, 13 years. Tammy could correct me. It's been a long time. And it started out by Professor Ping Lon, who I don't believe is here today. But it was his ideas to original ideas competition. It was much smaller at the beginning, and now it's grown into this really juggernaut that we're so proud of. It wouldn't be possible, however, without a lot of our partners who provide funds to make these events possible. I want to recognize those who are able to join us. When I call your name, please stand up and be recognized as I call out your company. I call out the company, then the individuals can stand. We'll give a round of applause at the end to show our appreciation for their support. So Usibelli Coal Mine. Hi, Lisa. Alaska 529. GCI, Kinross, Alaska, Alaska NSF EPSCOR, Design Alaska, Alaska Small Business Development Center, Mount McKinley Bank, Respect, Chris Maroc Allstate Insurance. Hey, David, you guys keep standing up. Oh, you're all sitting down. You didn't listen to my instructions. Juneau Economic Development Council. Can we get a big round of applause? Now I would like to introduce Ayana Earhart, a CBSM Business Administration and a CEM Mechanical Engineering student, to give the land acknowledgement and take us into the main division presentations. Thank you.
As we build a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive future, we acknowledge the indigenous peoples of the land on which we work and live. We honor our Alaska Native peoples. We acknowledge the Alaska Native nations upon whose ancestral lands our campuses reside. In Fairbanks, our Troth Yetta campus is located on the ancestral lands of the Dana people of the lower Tanana River. Hello, my name is Ayana Earhart, and I am so excited to be your AIC Main Division MC today. Before we get into presentations, I would like to remind anyone who did not receive a door prize ticket when they checked in to visit the check-in station to the left in the hallway and get one. Everybody is eligible to win with the exception of AIC staff. Door prizes include 1 Alaska Airlines ticket, 2 family passes to the Fairbanks Children's Museum, 4 one-hour passes to the Fly Trampoline Park, 2 tickets to the Riverboat Discovery, 2 vouchers for Gold Dredge 8, 2 tickets for Fountainhead Antique Auto Museum, and a Usibelli Coal Mine camping chair. I would like to extend a thank you to the businesses that donated prizes and give a shout out to Sipping Streams Tea Company for the awesome boba machine in the other room that you can find in the garden room. and Cold Stone Creamery, who donated ice cream certificates for the Cub and junior competitors. We appreciate all the creative ideas that are submitted to AIC, but after the semifinal round, only 4 ideas advanced to the finals. They are competing for cash prizes up to $15,000. Names are called in the order in which you'll present, but the order has no bearing on how you scored. You'll each have up to 5 minutes for your presentation, followed by 5 minutes of questions. You cannot go over, so use your time wisely. Keep an eye on the timer. First to present this afternoon is Robert Werner, presenting Fireproofing Your Grill. Robert will be joining us virtually as he was not able to travel here today, so we ask for your patience as we get Robert all set up. The next 3 finalists are Serena Allen, presenting Airy Cherry Solution to Outdoor Air Pollution, Demetrius Alexiandis, presenting Get by Ink, and Eleanor Locke, presenting Optogenetic 3D Bioprinter. Would all the finalists please move to the presenter seating area to my left in presenting order. As our competitors get settled, I'll introduce the esteemed panel of AIC judges. I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Jack Wilbur, the 2023 Main Division Judges Chair from Design Alaska, John Bittner of Alaska Small Business Development Center, Jim Coley, representing Mount McKinley Bank, Brian Holst, joining us from the Juneau Economic Development Council, Kathleen Hook, representing Doyon Utilities, Justin Seavey, representing our presenting sponsor, Usibelli Coal Mine, and a UAF MBA graduate, David Sandberg from Respect, and also a UAF MBA graduate, and Jessica Taft from GCI. Judges will have five minutes for questions after each presentation. In order to keep us on time, we request that all questions are asked only by judges at this time. Please follow along with the order of presentations listed in your program. Jack Wilbur will be leading the Q&A session. Here we go. Robert, your timer is ready whenever you are. Good luck.
Thanks a lot to the Arctic Innovation Competition for allowing me to present my project, Fireproofing Your Grill. Next slide. Next slide. Grills are the last of the dangerous appliances in the home. Cooking is the leading cause of house fires. There are approximately 400,000 of these per year. Barbecues are responsible for about 10,000 of these. Microwaves, coffee makers, hair dryers, heating units, laundry dryers, all appliances that are a threat have safety devices embedded in them to limit their destructive nature. Electric stoves now even have electronic cutoffs that listen for fire alarms to turn off the heating elements. It's basically time that barbecue grills be engineered to provide safe cooking for the family. Without these innovations, barbecue grills will be slowly outlawed. Next slide, please. Next slide. The rules for grilling vary by locality, but for the municipality of Anchorage, essentially the operation of any sort of open flame cooking device is prohibited on any sort of decks or balconies, and also prohibited from being anywhere near your house. So essentially, it's very hard right currently under rules to barbecue. Next slide, please. Grill fire risks are human in nature. They're basically a failure to clean the grill, including the grease trap, having the grill too close to something that could catch fire, or leaving the grill unattended, or grilling while drunk. Approximately 20,000 patients are sent to the emergency room every year because of injuries involving grills, and about 10,000 of these are thermal burns. Next slide, please. The grill fire abatement system is a fire sprinkler system that protects decks and houses from uncontrolled grill fires. Water from a garden hose is piped into a standardized fire sprinkler system and attaches to your grill. Any fire that sustains temperatures over 200 degrees Fahrenheit will cause the sprinkler head to activate and put out the fire. The system is spoof-proof, meaning without water pressure in the grill, you cannot light it. Next slide, please. Having fire extinguisher near to the grill is one of those things that people have advocated, but it still requires human intervention. Fire blankets to prevent oxygen for fires are used in grill fires and kitchens, but isn't adequate for these grill fires. Garden hose at the ready doesn't really stop the flow of propane fuel. There's no known automated outdoor grill sprinkler systems on patent search. Thermal switches have been in use for years. Next slide, please. Essentially, a garden hose attached to your grill base when the water is turned on. The pressure switch activates the solenoid when the water pressure goes above 10 pounds per square inch, allowing propane to flow to the burners. In case of a fire, the sprinkler head opens to put out the fire. With a dropping water pressure, the solenoid valve shuts off the propane fuel. Next slide, please. This is a diagram of how it works. Essentially, a water supply fills the blue pipe with water, activating the water pressure switch and turning on the solenoid, which allows propane to flow to the grill. In case of a fire, the commercial grade sprinkler head activates, lowering the water pressure, turning off the solenoid propane valve, and stopping the propane flow. Next slide, please. The design, all piping is either PEX or copper, and sprinkler heads are all standard design for house sprinkler systems. The sprinkler clone must overlie the grilling surface, yet be placed far enough away to prevent accidental firing. Components are easily replaced after firing and does not incapacitate the grill. The solenoid to control the propane flow usually runs on 12 volts, but has newly been designed so it doesn't need power. The design can be incorporated into any grill type. Parts are currently 3D printed, utilizes a special 200-degree sprinkler head. Other than the availability of water, the system needs no other services. The cost of the unit would be about $30. Next slide, please. The grill fire abatement system, you can turn on the video. There it goes. The grill fire abatement system controls grill fires by removing heat, stopping the fuel, and soaking the surrounding area to make it safe from igniting. Fire safety officers have advocated for this type of system by ruling that grills are allowed on balconies that are already protected by built-in fire sprinkler systems. Thanks a lot.
I'll start with a question. So I'm pretty familiar with sprinkler heads for residences and commercial applications, and they are generally designed for a wide spray pattern. And so I'm just wondering if the standard spray pattern for a residential head actually places most of the water on the grill surface.
I didn't hear the end of the question, sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the question, I guess was, it seems to me, I'll put it another way, that seems to me that most of the water that comes out of the sprinkler head is actually going to be sprayed someplace other than the grill surface, and that a very little of the water coming from the head will actually hit the grill surface. So, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I experimented with the height of the actual head, and it's true, if it's like 8 or 9 feet, like a standard built-in sprinkler system, the water sprays way off to the side. It sort of drips down, but essentially most of it goes off. So in this case, the sprinkler head is mounted directly above the grill surface within like 2 feet. And in that case, it totally soaks the grill and it totally soaks the surrounding area. So I think it would be effective. You can also modify this thing to have 2 or 3 sprinkler heads right in an adjacent pattern above the grill itself too.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I have a question. You mentioned the code for the municipality of Anchorage, and mentioning the need for installed fire suppression or fire safety systems to be able to grill on a deck or a balcony. Where this is a relatively mobile application, it's something that's set up on the deck next to the grill. Have you explored how that might satisfy the building code?
Yeah, I have not actually. These things are sort of guidelines, and they're by the fire advisory team, and they're taken kind of piecemeal by in terms of enforcement and also how they're interpreted. So it's really hard to tell what exactly the result would be. But this would be a step in the right direction in terms of trying to improve the usability and the safety of grills versus just having a kind of a blanket ban that's slowly becoming more and more irksome to people. You're basically not allowed to grill anywhere.
Robert, so what are your next steps with this? Do you plan to manufacture these? How do you would like to see the community know about these?
My kind of actions are more of a designer and a sort of a planner than anything. It's just to kind of get the design into the general kind of way people are viewing grills and grilling. I put up the plans. They're open source. They're on the internet right now. And I hopefully people will take it seriously and say, oh, this might be a good idea. And maybe the manufacturers will start putting these into grill systems. It's a very easy thing to adapt.
I managed to light my grill on fire last week, first time in my life in Juneau. And it made me think about throwing water on a greasy grill. Isn't that dangerous?
In kitchen fires where it's kind of an open pan of grease, it's your least acceptable method of fire control because the water causes steam to sort of erupt and blow the grease everywhere. But just about everybody that's had a grill fire has ended up using water, and it works pretty well, actually. I mean, I must have had about 10 or 15 grill fires. Maybe I'm just careless, but things catch on fire, and the first thing you will look for is water, and they work pretty well for that. And the fire code basically says that for any sort of grease fire in a kitchen, water, the built-in water system is what the treatment is for it. It stops the heat, it soaks the surrounding area, it keeps it from catching on fire.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert.
All
right, next, presenting on behalf of her team is Serena Allen with Airy Cherry Solution to Outdoor Air Pollution.
Today, I want to talk to you about particulate matter pollution, a problem that Fairbanks knows all too well. But this problem isn't unique to Fairbanks alone. PM pollution contributes to 1 in 9 premature deaths globally. It also expedites glacial melt and increases the amount of wildfires, which in turn create even more particulate matter pollution. And finally, there's nearly $8.1 trillion in economic losses each year due to the effects of PM pollution. Nothing on the market currently addresses this problem adequately. With policy solutions that are unable to, sorry, can I get the next slide, please? With policy solutions unable to capture PM today and working instead to stop PM in the future. Industrial purifiers are only able to capture the PM coming from a plant, and existing outdoor air purification devices rely on HEPA filters, which need to be changed out frequently, and also use an incredibly high amount of electricity. With these considerations in mind, we designed the Airy Cherry. Next slide, please. The Airy Cherry scales down a decades-old, tried-and-true industrial technology. In 3 simple steps, the fan pulls in polluted air. The particulate is ionized, preventing the PM from exiting the Airy Cherry. And finally, only clean air exits the device. For only $575, we hope to purify 1 city block of air per day and use as little electricity as it takes to charge your phone with a lightning cable 2.5 times. Here's a beginning proof of concept that we've done, and we're excited to say that our minimal viable product should be ready for testing this week. This 3-foot by 1-foot device is already going through the UCLA Patent Clinic, who's working with us pro bono to secure our IP. Next slide, please. We really want to launch here in Fairbanks because there's so much to be gained. First is improved health. By decreasing the amount of bronchitis cases, asthma, and ER visits, we predict we can save the residents of Fairbanks $2.7 million in healthcare cost. Additionally, we hope to get Fairbanks into EPA compliance for air quality, which they haven't been in for decades. If this doesn't happen this year, $37 million of federal highway funding will be pulled from this area. And finally, we want to protect the beautiful Arctic environment. By slowing down glacial melt and decreasing the number of summer wildfires, we'll be able to ensure that the beautiful Alaskan nature will be available for generations to come. Next slide, please. There's a huge market for outdoor air purification, totaling $101 billion, and we hope to have our customer waiting list going live this summer. Next slide, please. Here's a small rendering of what it may look like. Could be placed on top of streetlights or next to freeways. Next slide, please. But this will depend greatly on the city it's being launched in. So as mentioned, we hope to launch in Fairbanks, where residential wood burning is the main source of pollution. So these would be placed on every residential city block. In an area like Los Angeles, where cars are the main contributor of PM pollution, they'd be at freeway intersections. And when launching internationally in a place like Hyderabad, India, diesel motorbikes are the main source of PM. So we'd put them closer to the ground at other intersections. We've had great traction today, including strategic partnerships with the Cold Climate Housing Research Center and UAF AIC. But it's been a long road to get here. Next slide, please. The Airy Cherry started through a University of Southern California course called Innovations in Engineering for Global Crises. How it works is you travel to another community and talk to people to find the most impossible to solve problems. Since our beginning, this product has been completely Alaskan driven, and we've done over 200 hours of community engagement to identify this problem. At first, we were attempting to solve residential wood burning pollution, and you may have heard of us as Chimney Cherry, a house retrofit device. But after visiting Alaska this past December for more community engagement, we realized how badly the wildfire particulate matter affected residents this past summer. For this reason, we pivoted to create the Airy Cherry, which allows us to pull in particulate matter from any source, best meeting the needs of the market and the problem. Next slide, please. If granted, next slide, please. If granted the funding from the Arctic Innovation Competition, we will use it for continued prototyping and manufacturing of the Airy Cherry, plus marketing and legal fees. But the biggest thing we want to use it for is relocating to Fairbanks, because we believe that the Airy Cherry shouldn't only collect particulate matter from Fairbanks, but also stimulate the local economy, instead of just shipping up a device from the lower 48. We're hoping to launch in spring 2024, and the Arctic Innovation Competition grand prize money would really accelerate our process to get there. If you want to get involved in other ways, we're looking to recruit a technical co-founder, looking for a Fairbanks lab space, and hoping to find strategic partnerships to become partners for our beta launch. Thank you so much to the sponsors and to all the audience members for your attention, and we hope you'll join us on our mission to make clean air the cherry on top of life in Fairbanks. We'll now take any questions.
Thank you for that. So did you have any lessons from your chimney cherry that you have revised your current airy chair?
Yes, many, and that's why we've loved doing community engagement, because it's really shifted a lot of our product designs. So the chimney cherry went on top of a residential chimney, and there are a few problems we identified. First is what I mentioned, that it didn't collect other forms of particulate matter pollution. And then the second one is that there's a high liability due to differences in how people clean their chimneys, insurance issues as well, since we weren't sure if the codes would be able to be adopted. And then second, it was just the market in general. Will private citizens want to buy this? And so we used these to pivot. We actually got the idea from talking to the fire captain and the air quality department out here, who was saying, you know, almost jokingly, why can't you just grab all the air? So we're using the same core technology. That hasn't changed, and that's proven from decades of industrial solutions. But the application, yes, has changed from that. Thank you for your question.
Hi there. So I may have missed it in the presentation. You had them on top of buildings and on top of light poles and things. Do you eventually have to take something out of these, like a filter or something like that? And what does that look like, and how would that process work in terms of how many, like let's use Fairbanks for example. How many of these do you think it would require to get you into compliance with EPA, and what kind of workload would it be to clean these, however often it needs to be cleaned?
Sure, right. So I'll start with the first part of your question. For our V1 that we're doing right now, it doesn't have a self-cleaning component because we want to start pulling out the PM as quickly as possible. And so our first patent is just that pulling out of the air. The second one we plan to do in the future is essentially self-cleaning, where you pull out a drawer which has collected the PM and it seals automatically. You can then dispose of this in a normal landfill because it's really just carbon particulates. You can also mix it in with soil or even make jewelry out of it. So the idea is just to collect it, get it out of the air. At first, we're going to be using almost a paintbrush with a material to collect it that you just kind of scrape the sides down. And that's something we want to discover during our beta launch, ideally out here in Fairbanks, using academics through the UAF seed funding, so that way they can run our testing for third-party certification. To address your second question, we're predicting somewhere between 1,100 to 1,200 airy cherries, but that's not for EPA compliance. That's to cut 70% to 90% of existing particulate matter and created particulate matter pollution. The number for EPA compliance is quite a bit lower. And I also want to emphasize that this device works in synergy with existing government initiatives and wouldn't be replacing those. Mm-hmm.
I have a question on compatibility with our environment. We have a lot of really cold temperatures, and just comment again maybe on how that would fit with those temperatures.
Sure. So we're designing specific to communities, both in its placement and in its core technology. The temperature won't be a problem for the core technology, but we're planning on actually kind of stealing something from a chimney cap to make sure the snow buildup isn't too much. The cold won't affect it, and that's another reason we want to launch out here. It's frequently said if something works in Alaska, it'll work anywhere.
I have another question. So how are you testing that it's effective, and maybe that your wood stove sources have changed their behavior? Maybe they're starting to burn dry wood, and have that change in the atmosphere versus the airy cherry?
Great. Yeah, I'll answer the last part of that question first. So this is no longer a house retrofit device. Our ideal customer would be governments or NGOs, or maybe a neighborhood watch group that wants it in there on their city block. And so it will still, wood burning, even if you're burning the driest wood, is still going to create particulate matter pollution. As far as how we test it, it's actually quite incredible. Right now we're doing visual test and then using a Temtop air quality monitor to test it as well. So the visual test, we light about 5 incense, 1 incense, any amount up. We can watch the air go through the device and exit with no smoke at all. So if you think of industrialism in the UK originally, it's those big black smokestacks. If you're seeing white smokestacks now, that's because they're using the industrial version of this. So it becomes entirely invisible. Second is with this Temtop air quality monitor, which will actually show you in readings what it is until what the final result is. So we put it at the front and put it at the back. And those readings have all shown that there is an improvement, usually drastically in this, but we haven't had full testing, and that's something we hope to do when we launch here in partnership with the university. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Serena. Please welcome Demetrius Alexiadis to the stage, presenting Get By, Inc.
Hello, everyone. Can you actually go back one slide, please? This is not my first slide. Thank you very much. Okay, well, that isn't my first slide. I haven't done this too many times, right? Just kidding. So my name is Demetrius Alexiadis. I'm the founder and CEO of Get By. We help people find work. Who? Well, people who don't have resumes and people with prior justice system involvement. Next slide, please. So you're probably thinking, how could this possibly work? Next slide, please. I could tell you how it would work, but I really want to show you my slides. No worries. Okay. For sure. Yeah, right? It's a great event so far, isn't it, everyone? Can we give a hand? Really appreciate everyone's patience too. I know you're really excited to hear about this company. So again, my name is Demetrius Alexiadis. I'm the founder and CEO of Get By. So we help people find work. You're asking who? Well, people who don't have resumes and people with prior justice system involvement. Next slide, please. So you're probably asking, how could this possibly work? Well, at Get By, we vet and background check our workers so business clients don't have to. We check their credentials and make sure that they're in line with what the business client needs. Next slide, please. Next, you're probably thinking, well, what if something happens at my business? You bring in someone who's formerly incarcerated. Is that going to introduce additional risk to my business? Well, I'm here to let you know that Get By workers are federally bonded and insured to make sure that all of that risk is properly dealt with. Next slide, please. So why am I here telling you this story? Well, I'm a formerly incarcerated person. I pled guilty to my crime. I took on that burden of that shame and stigma, but I'm here to tell you that I've still moved forward with my life, right? I haven't reoffended in the past 8 years, and I found that the stigma of my conviction has prevented me from finding career opportunities in our state. That's why I'm drawn to do this work and work for Get By and move this mission forward. Next slide, please. So the problem. Is the workforce shortage a problem? We keep hearing about it in the news. So in the United States last year, in December, there were 11 million total job openings across the United States, every industry. That's 222 million unfilled shifts in 1 month. In Alaska, there were 31,000 job openings in December. That's 620,000 unfilled shifts in 1 month. Next slide, please. So all of this while Alaska has the recidivism rate of 58%. So for folks that are getting out of prison, they're twice as likely to return to incarceration if they don't find employment within 2 years of their release. We have known for decades now that employment and education are highly correlated with not returning to incarceration. So why aren't we connecting with people who want to work? Next slide, please. Well, at Get By, we see increasing the employment of formerly incarcerated people as a win, 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 win. Businesses get workers, job seekers get jobs, society has less crime and is more equitable, and government budgets decrease. Next slide, please. So how do we do this? How do we make money? On the left side of the slide here, this is a very busy slide, my apologies. On the left side of the slide here, you'll see that we charge a 35% service fee on hourly wages. That's so that businesses can work with these individuals on a shift-by-shift basis to test out their experience with that worker. Optionally, if businesses are interested in hiring get-by workers as their own full-time, we charge an optional, permanent scaling hiring fee. We see that if people work more on the platform, we want that fee to scale down to zero because we see it as a win-win. We're creating relationships with people who need positive, pro-social interactions in our communities. So on the right side of the slide there, we're talking about the market size. So in Anchorage and Fairbanks alone, there are 21,200 leisure and hospitality employees. On average, the absenteeism for that industry is 10 missed days of work a year. At $35 a shift on average, the serviceable obtainable market for just the Anchorage and Fairbanks hospitality industry, just servicing people missing work, is $7.42 million a year. Now let's talk about the United States leisure and hospitality economy, right? The whole sector. 15 million people across the United States, each one of them call out about 10 times per year. Applying that same assumption, we come to a $5.25 billion serviceable obtainable, total addressable market for just addressing the United States leisure and hospitality missed days, 10 missed days a year. Next slide, please. So this is what the client platform looks like. Basically, clients can list their shifts seamlessly, and these shifts are displayed to workers on the app. The app is live on both app stores now. This basically allows for workers to see that the shifts listed very quickly once they see the shift. If they have been checked out, if they vetted, and their background check checks out with the demands of that shift, they're connected and can commit to that shift. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to fly through this update slide here. Since last summer, I've done a lot. I worked the first 10 shifts on the platform. I told my story on the Arctic Entry stage. I did a GoFundMe that's really allowed me to move forward. I did some non-dilutive fundraising through a Web3 community, which is really crazy. And then I recently exhibited at a local reentry conference. If there's one thing that you could take away from this pitch today, it's that there are a ton of capable people in our state who are looking for work and they just need a shot. Consider your choosing Get By as the winner or investing in Get By as an investment into the well-being and public safety of your communities. Thank you. Really appreciate the patience too on the slide deck.
I'll go. So do you have clients now that are using the app and businesses that are using it?
So right now, basically what's happened throughout the entire genesis of Get By is it's been a chicken and the egg scenario every step of the way, right? A year ago, I had this business idea and I was going through an accelerator program, but I didn't have the funds to incorporate and to get workers' comp and to get employment liability insurance. And so all of that is just now getting turned on. And so I've been marketing this product, this service to businesses, and every time it gets to the punch, they're saying, so why can't we do this tomorrow? And I said, well, I don't have the money. For months, I didn't have the money to turn the workers' comp and the employment liability on to make sure that Get By was checking all of those boxes for the risk category. And so right now, we are onboarding our initial clients. I will say I'm very excited. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this publicly, but I think we're going to work with the Anchorage Opera in Anchorage doing some like carpentry and manual labor work. So really exciting, and there's a bunch of restaurants that are also expressing interest. So thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you. I have a question about accessibility of just the handsets or the phones and service accessibility for folks who may be re-entering. Can you talk, because you need the app and you need the phone, so can you talk a little bit about that?
Fantastic. This actually, I just spoke with Henning Inc. in Anchorage this past Friday. Henning runs all of the shelters in Anchorage, and we just had this conversation. I think there's a unique opportunity for a service provider in that setup. For instance, if the person's re-entering and they're going into a transitional housing provider and there are wraparound services there, that someone that was working at that provider would have access to the app So say, for instance, they would just have a worker account that could see all of the shift opportunities. Then they could walk that individual through setting up an account just using the browser. So you can set up an account on the browser. You don't need the app. And so say, for instance, you've got that peer support specialist that runs that person through setting up that account. Then they can show all of their clients there at the transitional housing unit all of the opportunities that are coming up in the next weeks and make sure that their credentials are checking out for those individual accounts. And so I'm having another conversation on Monday with Henning to explore those opportunities to work further with people who are in that transitional housing environment. Thank you.
Demetrius, this is an exciting idea. So tell me a little bit more. What's in it for the offender, the ex-offender? Because you said they don't get career opportunities. This sounds a little bit like a gig. What's the long play for them?
So I think the long play for them is, typically small businesses on a wide macro level, the stigma of a former criminal conviction will just prevent you from getting a job whatsoever. And so I can speak anecdotally from my experience, right? I've been bouncing from job to job, and every time I bounce from job to job, it feels like I can't transfer professional credibility and the skill set that I'm developing at that job. And so using this app, we'll be able to track, hey, you did 5 shifts of changing people's tires. You did 5 shifts of painting. What does the review look like that we're getting back? How are you reviewing the business that you're working with? So now we can start telling a story. Okay, well, maybe people who have this type of crime don't excel in these types of environments. What they found is customer service type jobs, actually people who have former incarceration, excel in customer service jobs, but not sales jobs. And so finding those pathways for people, right? And saying, hey, instead of this being a complete no-go, let's break the risk down to the shift level. So then instead of it being the traditional staffing agency model where someone has to show up for a week or two, if you don't like the person after your first shift working with them and you're doing the traditional staffing thing, you got to keep putting up with them till the end of the first week or two because you're paying for the service. Whereas here with Get By, if you don't like them after the first shift, let us know and you won't ever work with them again. And so over and over, that allows that person to have some agency, to take the work that they want, to work the things that they're actually interested in, to schedule it around their needs, right? If somebody's re-entering, they might have to go to their probation officer, they might have to go to substance abuse classes, they might have to go all over town. And so that might mean that the demands for their schedule are fundamentally different than someone who's looking for full-time work. I hope I answered your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Demetrius. To round off the main division finals, please welcome Eleanor Locke presenting optogenetic 3D bioprinter.
All right. Everyone ready to go? All right. My name is Eleanor Locke. I am presenting on behalf of E42 Technologies, our optogenetic 3D bioprinter. Is this working? Next, there we go. So the main goals of this printer and my business as a whole regarding this project are to supplement and not deprecate the current organ transplant network that is currently struggling hard, to increase the viability of transplants, and to offer a new hope to trans individuals regarding gender-affirming surgeries, because that area is in desperate need of innovation. Oh, there goes my pen. Oh no. There we go. As I mentioned, the United States government recognizes that the current transplant network is in shambles. It's hard to ignore there are 17 people dying every day from this failing network, especially when a handful of those are most definitely from transportation-related mishaps, such as receiving an organ that's been squished under the wheel of a vehicle during transport. That's just terrible. There we go. Currently, the survivability of a lung transplant, which is a complex lung or a complex organ to replace, is the survivability of this is at 55% after 5 years of the transplant occurring. That's not that great. Current use cases of 3D bioprinting include cancer research institutions, surgical training, and hands-on learning for students in biology labs, along with supporting regional and combat hospitals. Current methodologies are currently what I like to call developing tunnel vision. They're focusing hard on trying to be the best, absolute best in their particular field. I mean, we have all of these different methodologies that are being used. However, only a handful of them are actually focusing on being multicellular or a single-step process. And that's, in this current age where we are having 17 deaths a day from a lack of available organs, that's unacceptable. We need to start commercializing, start providing an all-in-one solution for hospitals and whatnot to provide an alternative for, well, a failed organ. The solution that E42 Technology is presenting to you today is attempting to offer an all-in-one solution with a multicellular approach, and while building on current advances that are readily available, such as the method that we are currently developing upon is a method called stereolithographic printing. This uses lights and lasers to cure a substrate, and then within that substrate, a particular cell will develop and form. However, the method that I'm currently developing uses a secondary laser on top of that method to work with the optogenetics side of things to develop the cell as it kind of situates itself within the substrate. Optogenetics are a field where cells are edited using advances such as CRISPR gene editing to perform different functions under different light waves. A part of this process will include developing an artificial intelligence to kind of help build a model of the organ being replaced or even a section of skin being replaced, and build it in a way that is anatomically correct for the individual, to be based on the DNA, to be a perfect DNA replacement. Overall, trying to bridge technological gaps by open sourcing this project while also taking in a field that hasn't been really used within 3D bioprinting. Optogenetics is a wonderfully advancing field, and there's a lot of cutting-edge research that is readily available, as often is in the case of times of innovation when it's needed most. So currently, as a business, I have reached out to a handful of organizations, including Charles River, a contract research organization focusing on working with gene editing and whatnot, along with the UC San Diego and the Rockefeller University in New York, for seeing if they'd be interested in working with me in developing this a little bit further beyond what I personally am capable of. Thank you.
I think you've got it, and then you don't. Thank you for the presentation. I would like, it's a two-part question. Can you confirm, it sounds like in the presentation, while many folks are working on this, they're working on very specialized niche areas. Is that your presentation?
Correct.
And can you talk a little bit about why you think that is, and why you think others aren't approaching it from a more holistic approach like you are?
I really appreciate that answer, because that gives me a chance to address something I didn't have a chance to with my presentation. Currently, this is something I've noticed, especially within maybe the artificial intelligence sector, that maybe we're all a little bit more familiar with all the buzzwords regarding it. These companies, these research organizations, they develop tunnel vision. They focus on being this next best technology, trying to be the cutting edge at all times, and they kind of forget that why we're doing this, why are we developing this technology, and it's to help humanity as a whole. So what good, to me, it doesn't make sense to be trying to constantly develop the next cutting edge product when we're not looking at better ways to bring it home, to bring it that next extra step of combining other readily available cutting edge technologies, putting them together, and giving them to the people that we are trying to help in the short term with this. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. Just wondering where you see this product on the kind of proof of concept timeline, whether it's at 5%, 90%, you know, that sort of thing, and how many years it may take to get there. And then on the funding timeline and where you need to be in order to get to that first viable product.
So currently, I would say this project is very much so firmly in the 10 to 20% stage. It's very much so a theoretical, a very much so research-oriented focus. As for funding, I will be honest, I need a lot more funding than I will be able to get through this event alone. However, what that does mean is whatever I am getting from this will be for taking the steps necessary to take the next steps towards what I've just promised. For me right now, it's less about trying to give you a product, a guaranteed product in a year. I can give you a working 3D printer or working proof of concept in a month. That's not an issue. That's the easy side of things. The difficult part is truly the actual research regarding the genetics, and that is not a field that I myself am quite firm with, which is why with funding, it's going to be more towards developing the software. The software that will be the AI to help sequence the DNA and then turn that into something that is printable, a standardized format. Right now, there's not really a standardized format for printing across sectors, and it's my belief that by trying to offer this standardized system, it'll also give me a name for myself of E42 Technologies that will make other companies more willing to work with me towards the final steps of the project, towards the actual gene editing, which is I don't have a lab space for that, but a contract research organization does. But they're not going to work with someone that just says, hey, I have this printer that might work. They want to see someone that's actually taken steps towards contribution to the field. And having at least a software that is dedicated for that purpose goes, hey, I'm an actual player. I've invested time and research into this. Let's work together.
Sorry, I planned that poorly. I should have asked for the mic first. One of the things that you mentioned, and you just talked about this a little bit, I think the part of this, there's a lot of moving parts in what you're proposing. The part of it that I think has the highest applicability that it sounds like you're going to focus on is the AI piece. Does it make sense to focus on that as the product so that you, because I'm assuming if you build it for your own idea here, it can be used across other, you said there's a lot of research being done. Like, is that the product, the AI, I guess, is what I'm asking.
It's a short-term product. It's just one step of the process. I've already done heavy lifting in that product, in that development, which is why I'm not here marketing it to you today. However, yes, it is a very crucial part of this project, and once it's done, I will be using that kind of as that next step, as that, look at me, I'm actually doing something. And does that, thank you. Thank you very much.
Those were some very incredible presentations here for you today. I will now release the judges to go deliberate and invite the Cup Division judges to be seated at the head table, the judges' table. While we transition, let's give a round of applause for the main division finalists. Usibelli Coal Mine provided a 3-year, $100,000 gift to support AIC. With this generous gift, there were travel stipends, more outreach in rural areas, and increased amounts for the cash awards. With us today is Lisa Casino, Vice President of Public Relations for the Usibelli Coal Mine, and the Executive Director for the Usibelli Foundation. Lisa will be leading the Cup Division final presentations.
Hey, John Huff. Right here. Is this what the Cubs are using to advance their slides, or did they? Okay. So it's just the regular mouse. It should be the left one, yeah. It'll be the left. Okay, I'm getting the cue that we are ready. As Ayana said, my name is Lisa Casino. I'm with Usibelli Coal Mine, and I'm really happy to be here. I've participated with AIC for a number of years, but the thing I get most jazzed about is watching the youth in our community come up and present. And we have some really talented kids all throughout Alaska, so hats off to them for having the courage to come up here. And I have the honor of emceeing the Cub Division. All of the Cub finalists, they'll receive an AIC backpack, Cold Stone Creamery gift certificates, medals or ribbons, and then cash prizes from $50 up to $500. They'll have 3 minutes to present their ideas, followed by 3 minutes of questions from our judges. And competitors in the room, just a few helpful tips. You're going to want to watch the clock here in front of you. It's going to tell you when you're going to be out of time, and when it reaches 0, you've got to stop talking, and we'll pass it over to the judges, and they will ask you their questions. You're going to want to move the microphone close to your mouth, so if you're a little bit shorter, vertically challenged, you might have to pull the microphone all the way down here. And we do have a lovely stool over here, too, so if you need the stool, we'll move that in front of you so that you guys can see everybody in the audience. And then just make sure you're talking to the judges here, because that's who you want to have the eye contact with, and don't focus too much on your screen. So with that, you'll each have 5 minutes for your presentation. Nope. Let's see. See, I should have got the stapled one, Tammy. Presentations are going to start with Denali Walrath, and she's going to be sharing the animal alert. And Denali is actually one of our past participants. She was in Nome. I remember doing, her and her brother competed, right? So she's here from Nome, and she's going to present. If we could have Boyce Dirks, Phoebe Millie, Merrick Warner from Boyce 1.0, if you guys would sit over here in the staging area, you'll be right after Denali. And our judges today, here at the table, we have Peter Webley. He is the Cub Division Judges Chair, and he's also representing UAF's Center for Innovation, Commercialization, and Entrepreneurship. We have Alex Pacho representing Kinross, Alaska, and we have Sumitra Salkalkar, a UAF Graduate Research Assistant. Yes. So thank you so much, judges. This would not be possible without your support. So with that, I am going to kick it over to you, Denali. And here is the mouse, so if you have slides, you can go ahead and click through that.
Welcome to the Animal Alert presentation. I'm Denali, I'm 11 years old, and I live in Alaska. Next slide, please. The idea for the Animal Alert. In December, a person was killed by a muskox in Nome, Alaska. In January, a rabid fox attacked a girl while walking to the Nome Elementary School. On the same day, a bear killed a woman and her young son in Wales, Alaska. I wanted to come up with a way of informing the public of any potential animal danger. My idea borrows the concept of an alert for like a weather app, but to tell for the animal danger. Next slide, please. Who does my idea help? People of any age. That's the wrong slide. That's the wrong one, too. I'll just go back to that. How is my idea original? I searched for everything having to do with animal alerts, including Animal Alert, Find My Animal, Dangerous Animals, and more. It doesn't exist. Right now, flyers are posted around town of animal warnings. My idea borrows the alert of a weather app, but for animal encounters. It works a similar way by providing warnings for current locations. Next slide, please. Some feedback I have gotten is people have been asking for websites or apps that are just like my app. There is always a potential for animal attacks wherever I go in Alaska. Next slide, please. Animal Alert will be more efficient reaching people because 53% of kids 11 and over have smartphones, 91% of kids 14 and over have smartphones, and 90% of adults have smartphones. Next slide, please. The value. Over 4,700 people have to go to the hospital for medical attention for bites or injuries for animal encounters. This will be huge when people know how bad it really is. Many people get hurt and worse, but that could easily be avoided. Next slide, please. Thank you for listening. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Denali. So my question is to you is, what was the most difficult component of putting this together and this presentation and thinking about your idea? What was the hardest thing that took the most time?
That's a good question. That was probably like finding out what animals are really dangerous and all the attacks that have happened and different stuff with the animal part.
Great presentation. I really liked reading about your abstract as well. So my question was like, you talk about like animal alerts. Like, is it an app? Like you say where the animal is, and how would that app communicate with other people? Is it Wi-Fi or?
It's an app, and it would not need to use Wi-Fi because if somebody's like outside and they're on a road trip and they don't have Wi-Fi, then they'd have to look at the alert, and it would give them like a ping for an alert if there's been like an attack or anything, and it shows it in the pamphlet thing. Any other questions?
Can you tell us how you came up with this?
So at the start I was talking about how there's different attacks. Well, when the attacks first happened, I didn't want like people to get hurt or anything like that. So I came up with the idea of an animal alert. So it'd message them and ding, and it'll show how dangerous it is and different things. And I just wanted to make people safe.
I have one final question for you. What's next for you with this app and this project?
I'd get like a crew to help me make that app because I don't really know a lot of programming stuff, so I'd make a working prototype for the app, and then after that I'd make a thing that you could actually get on the app. Thank you.
Great job, Denali. Thank you. Would Jackson Butler, would you please come to the presentation area, because you'll be up after our next presentation. Next, we're going to have Boyce Dirks, Phoebe Milley, Merrick Warner. If you would come to the stage, and we're going to hear from Boyce 1.0.
Hello everyone, my name is Phoebe Milley. I'm a 5th grader at Midnight Sun Elementary School. The Rockin' Rock Stars is the name of our STEAM club. We have about 15 students in our club, with some added and some moving away. The main idea of our STEAM project is that we have 5 or 6 3D printers. A roll of filament is $20. Midnight Sun Elementary has a lot of plastic waste. Our solution to this issue is to build a collection and delivery system to turn trash into treasure. The benefits to this is we reduce waste. The challenge includes costs of energy, labor, regulations, and support systems needed. Our next step is to review with the district and the PTA.
First off, sorry about that. But to my presentation. Hi, my name is Boyce Dirks, and I am a 4th grader at Midnight Sun Elementary. Unfortunately, we ran out of time to build our robot, but I would like to take some time to share with you our idea to turn single-use of plastic into 3D filament. Instead of throwing away hundreds of lunch trays every day, our robot would collect those trays. Then it will need to clean them, move them to a processing center, and shred them. Next, it would make the 3D filament by heating up the plastic to transform it into 3D filament spools. These spools could be used in a variety of different ways. We could share, trade, sell, or create with this new 3D filament. And now to my friend Merrick to talk about some numbers.
Hello, I am Merrick. We learned that our school goes through a lot of packs for lunch. We use average 300 packs per day. We also learned that the plastic in the lunch is the same plastic that 3D printer filament is made from. Our research showed us that 300 trays per day, 5 days a week for 36 weeks is 54,000 trays per school year. It takes 18 trays to make 2 pounds of filament. We would be able to make 3,000 spools of filament per year. A 2-pound spool sells for an average of $20. The total value would be $120,000. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Hello, really nice presentation. I really like the idea as well. So my question for you today is, so you talked about you've used this in your school, I'm guessing. So do you have you worked with also the central recycling facility in Fairbanks, and do you see this kind of being implemented there in wider Alaska to just make it a bigger project?
No, not yet, but we plan to.
Thank you for the presentation. You have seen and shown us the need at your school. Do you know of other schools that would also have this need with having 3D printers, or is it unique to your school?
We believe there's also other problems at other schools, but for now we're focused on this, then we can work our way to other schools to help the problem.
I guess I'll take the mic. What's next? You said that you weren't able to build it. Do you have the plan to move forward and actually build the product?
Well, then, we would get the support of the PTA, or as pronounced, the Parent Teacher Association, and the principals.
Do we have any other questions from the judges? Nope. Well, I'd like to thank you for your presentation today, all three of you. Well done.
sure I would not have been able to come up here and do that at that age. So that is awesome. Would Bradley Rowe please join the waiting area? And next up, I am pleased to welcome Jackson Butler to the stage, sharing his idea of the Fracinator.
Hi, I'm Jackson. I'm in 3rd grade, and this is my invention, the Fracinator. Next slide. Plastic is a worldwide problem from small villages in rural Alaska to the bottom of the ocean. Even to the highest mountains in the world, there are plastic waste. 391 million tons of plastic were produced worldwide in 2021. 1.2 billion tons of plastic will be produced in 2060. Most plastics take many, many, many years to decompose. Some plastics take 1,000 years to decompose. Some plastics never decompose. Some plastics contain PFAS, a forever chemical that never decomposes. Next slide. The Fracinator is an at-home plastic composter. The Fracinator uses plastivores to compost plastic and produce frass. Frass is sometimes used for fertilizer and food for fish. The Fracinator can be made in different sizes to be used in the yard, garage, kitchen, counter, or office desktop. Next slide. Here's a picture of the Fracinator and something that I drew. So first you put the plastic in the top, and then the bugs are and then the bugs are on the top, and then the bugs, when they digest the plastic, it turns into frass and it goes on the bottom, and you can open up the bottom and use it for anything. Well, I mean food for fish, and also it makes it easier to decompose plastic. Next slide. The world will benefit from at-home plastic composting. The intent of the Fracinator is to make frass out of safe for use as a plant fertilizer or fish food. Next slide. How would you make this? This can be very generic, but give a general sense of production. Next slide. Many people compost at home. They compost in their yard, garage, kitchen. Many people spend a lot on at-home composters, and when I tell them about composting plastic, they are always very interested. With the right advertising, the same people who currently compost their yard and kitchen waste will be interested in the Fracinator for plastic waste. Next slide. At-home composters are an easy target for selling the Fracinator. The environmentally conscious is another target group. There are many people that would be interested in a desktop version of the Fracinator to dispose of their single-use coffee cups and fertilize their office plant. Next slide. The Fracinator has the potential to be sold all over the world, from small villages to big cities. The Fracinator is a small step that everyone can take toward solving the problem of plastic waste in the world. Nature can solve some made problems if given the chance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your presentation. That was great. Can you tell us a little bit more about where you intend to find the mealworms that will eat the plastic?
I think, well, there is other places, there's other bugs that I've been researching and finding other bugs for researching basically for about 3 years, counting this year. And so mealworms would probably be not found in Alaska, but other places across the world. And also there is waxworms, crickets, cockroaches, and hornworms, and various other bugs that can eat plastic.
So we buy the Fracinator and then we purchase the bugs separately?
Yes, I believe so.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. In your short write-up, you talk about the frass or the poop. Have you thought about how people might be happy to clean a mealworm's poop?
No, well, I mean, you don't really have to clean it depending on like what you're feeding it. Well, and also certain types of bugs like certain types of plastics. And so basically, you can just kind of dump it into something, or you can put it in a container that's more enclosed, then pour it in a plant or give it to your pet fish or something.
My last question. Where would you like to go next with this? What would you like to do with this Fracinator?
I'd probably like to do a little bit more designing on it because, I'd probably like to do a little bit more research on it, and then I'd probably like to sell it.
They just keep getting better and better. Great job. Next up, I would like to ask Revelation Conley to come to the waiting area. And we're going to hear next from Bradley Rowe. He's our next competitor, and he's going to tell us about the snow cone machine.
Hi, I'm Bradley Rowe. My ID is a snow cone machine. I'm 7 years old. I live in Alaska. I like snow cones. I like snow. This is a pisser. It's half miniature snow blower, half snow cone maker, operated by a Molken Shoal. It's a snow blower plus a snow cone plus a Molken Shoal. This is a picture of the Molken Shoal. There's an on and off switch, flavor, forward and reverse, left and right, and flavor selection. The flavors are lemon, red raspberry, blue raspberry, green apple, strawberry, cherry, peach, mango, and vanilla and lime. This is a pitcher. This is my model of it. There's flavor shooters, snow cone holder, flavor compartment, and the snowsuit's not the pitcher, and there's a snow blower auger, and the tracks. That's the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Bradley. So my question is, you showed a model of the snow cone blower. How big would that be? Because snow cones are the size of your hand. And how big would the unit be?
That's a model.
Be the exact size that you would have outside in your outside your house?
Yeah.
I liked your note about making sure to use clean snow. I think that's first and foremost very important. Is there any design in your model or maybe further down the line that would filter out the dirty parts of the snow so that you got a clean snow cone?
Yes.
Great. I really liked your design and the idea as well. So my question was where do you think your next step would be? Like, have you you see a particular area in Alaska that would have this fresh snow, and that would be helpful for them to like go and have this kind of machine? Maybe in the rural Alaska, where I think there's more fresh snow.
Yes.
It's really cool with all the different flavors. How would the flavors go how would the snow and the flavors go in the cone? How would they combine?
The sprayers go onto the snow cone.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and next to the staging area would the Winder Wheel presenters come over here. And next up, we have Revelation Conley to the stage presenting Waste to Wonder. Do you want the stool?
Hello, I'm Revi Conley at Ryan Middle School in 6th grade. This is my project, Waste to Wonder. What is my problem? EPS, extruded polystyrene foam, best known by Styrofoam, the Dow Company name, is an inexpensive mixture of air and petroleum that can be fashioned in any shape or size. It takes 500 years to decompose in landfills, and it doesn't biodegrade. This entire time, it puts toxic chemicals in our water supply. We can't keep doing this. We need to reduce the production of EPS and recycle the EPS we do use. Why don't we recycle EPS? Less than 1% of EPS in the United States is recycled. No EPS recycling is available in the Fairbanks North Star Borough. Some of the technical considerations include volume and contamination. EPS is 95% air, so you have to break it down before you efficiently store or transport it. EPS is often covered in food or drinks, so you have to clean it before you process it. Despite this, EPS can be recycled relatively affordably. What is my solution? An EPS densifier. An EPS densifier is a machine that shreds and compresses styrofoam into bricks that can be used for insulation or structural panels. The Fairbanks North Star Borough needs both. A locally owned densifier could keep EPS out of landfills and provide material for local products. My proposal? The Fairbanks North Star Borough purchases an EPS densifier. The initial purchase would cost $18,000 to $20,000. The machine could be housed at and operated by the Fairbanks Central Recycling Facility. The compressed EPS could then be sold as insulation or made into structural panels. Who would benefit? The environment, because the water supply would be cleaned, the local industry, because recycling would make profit from the insulation or structural panels sold, and the local people. As employees or customers, local people would benefit from the cost savings and locally produced building materials. What would success look like? The initial investment paying off and keeping EPS out of landfills and reducing the price of insulation. My hope is that people choose to invest in this. My conclusion is that we have to protect our water supply for generations to come. So to do this, we need to keep EPS out of landfills. This is an important part of that protection. Let's invest in EPS densifier. Everybody wins.
Great presentation. I really liked your idea of recycling and keeping our waters clean. So my question, I think you mentioned in your presentation that you the Fairbanks North Starborough recycling facility needs this machine. Like, so have you had a chance to speak to them? How receptive have they been to like this machine being bought? And
I have not had a chance to speak with them yet, but maybe in the future I may be able to.
So this densifier that you'd be looking to purchase, is this something that already exists and is being used in other places?
Yes.
And is it being used successfully?
Yes.
Have you identified vendors that would be able to supply this to you?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
I saw on one of your slides the unit in a building. How big is that unit? Is it 6 feet high, 20 feet high?
It's relatively large, about like the size of a car. It is, but yeah, it's about the size of a car or larger.
You mentioned Fairbanks North Starborough purchasing one, and you haven't yet spoken to them. Where could they go to learn more about this? Obviously talking to you, but is there other places where they could learn more about this, either in Alaska or in the lower 48?
Yes, there are many places online or in person that you can find this.
Much.
Nice job, Ravi. Our final team in the Cub division is presenting Winder Wheel, and that's going to be led by Odin Baird, Lev Chernik, Reed Greig, and Colt Skinner. Would you guys please come up?
Hi, I'm Odin, and this is our project, the Winder Wheel. The problem, state the problem. So imagine you live in a small village in Alaska and electricity costs 3/4 of your salary. Then cheaper electricity would be a blessing. Our problem to solve is simple: to make electricity more affordable in areas of Alaska where electricity is difficult to generate. State the problem. So imagine, State your idea. Our idea is to create a water generator that has a wind generator attached to it. The water wheel portion uses a current of the river or stream to provide water, while the wind generator portion will assist in harnessing the winds across the river. My friends over there will show you the different parts. Who would benefit? Our idea will help villages and communities with moving water sources nearby, rivers, streams, and other things. All that is needed is to place or construct a bridge structure that can support the design and deep enough water to immerse the water wheel. How will it be made? We would first design a bridge structure or use an existing bridge to hold the machinery so that it is suspended partially in the water and partially out of the water. The mechanism we will use the hydraulics to lower and raise it in and out of the water. The water turbine will use breezes over the river to generate electricity. The water generator will use the current to generate electricity. When the winter comes, we can attach these generators to a bridge structure with hydraulics and raise and lower the design up and out of the water to avoid ice in the water, log jams in summer, as well as fish traveling underneath the machinery. These two different forms of electricity generation will require different blade designs. Why will it be successful? The design will create cheaper energy for village communities and possibly others. By lowering costs of living in rural communities, it could result in providing funds to be freed up for other important matters such as healthcare, education, food, and other things. The bridge portion of the design will be beneficial to open up other areas of the land and around the community using the Winder Wheel. Where would you sell it? We would like to sell it into the state of Alaska local village governments and any interested parties outside of the state who might be interested in using this design. Our targeted audience would be rural communities who will have limited energy resources to generate electricity.
Hi, I'm Lev. Our solution for this problem is to put multiple water mills in the Yukon River that raise up during the winter to be windmills for constant electricity. To get the electricity to the villages, we will run power lines to the designated area. We will have 1 to 2 water mills in a village and get the water mills as close as we can to the villages. To our research extents, we haven't found anyone that has successfully combined these 2 elements of clean energy production. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation, guys. Can you tell me a little bit more about the energy potential that this product would generate?
So going off that question, I'm just going to assume what you meant is how much electricity will this be making? So I did some very mathematical calculations, and I have discovered that in the winter months, which we have rounded up to 6 months, we could make up to 843,000 kilowatts per month, which is 5,058,000 kilowatts for the winter season. And we can power up to 5,640 houses through the entire winter. But in the summer months, which will be water-based, we will be able to make up 302,400 kilowatts per month. And this is 1,814,000, we can make up to, sorry, I know, I'm not very good at this, 1,814,400,000 kilowatts each summer. If you add these 2 up, you will get 1,819,458,000 kilowatts per year. Imagine how many people we can help with this.
So, question to follow up for you. Would this product be used to replace the diesel generators that are currently being used in rural communities, or would this offset or just supplement the current generators that are being used?
In the future, we are hoping to replace any and all diesel generators because this can pollute the earth. And also, if the generator breaks, and we have done researches, and these generators are old, so it's hard to come by parts to repair them. So people could be suffering when they break.
Last question. With renewable energy, and I'm sure you guys have looked into this, that there's a potential for what can be generated, but that's not a guarantee. So would you consider this to be as reliable as the current generators that are being used?
We would hope that this will be as versatile and work as well as the generators currently. It might not, because we can't tell in this current moment. Well, we can always put more if one doesn't create enough electricity for the village.
That's great, thank you.
I have one question with 24 seconds to go. This can be used as a wind power generator. What's the maximum wind that this could sustain before there was an issue?
In the research for the first LEGO League, we were researching that, and we found out that the winds can get up to 40 miles an hour. So if we made this, we'd have to make it so we could handle 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Those are some really great ideas. And what I love most about that is that they had to focus on teamwork, public speaking, communication. They had to meet deadlines. They had to come up with prototypes. And they had to take really tough questions and give impromptu answers to our esteemed judges. It's a big deal to make it into the AIC finals, and we always have so many presentations or submissions each year. But we whittled it down to 6, and you guys did an amazing job, and you should be very proud of yourselves for coming up here and having the courage to present and to think about some ideas. I love that you were all environmentally conscious, had a focus on health and safety, and so I think probably all of us in the room would say that our world will be in a really great place with kids like this leading our communities. So let's give them all a round of applause. So speaking of teamwork, I am honored to pass the baton over to Pearson Clark, a College of Business and Security Management student majoring in business administration with an emphasis in marketing. I'm gonna just go back up because I got off script, Tammy. The judges, if you would like to exit the room and go to the deliberation chambers, And then I'm going to hand it over to Pearson Clark. So Pearson is a CBSM student majoring in business administration with an emphasis on marketing. Would you please join me in welcoming Pearson as he takes us into the junior presentations?
Hi, real quick, just before I get started, just a quick announcement. We are doing last call for door prizes, so if you haven't had a chance, if you do make your way back out to the room and to the left, there will be a table where you can meet Tammy and you can get a chance to enter just the last chance. Oh. Can you hear me now? Okay. Sorry about that. But like I was saying, just a quick announcement. We are doing last call for door prizes. So if you haven't had a chance to do so, if you go back out the doors right behind us and take a left, you can meet Tammy at the table and get your name entered into that. But thank you, Lisa. And of course, thank you to Usibelli Coal Mine for helping sponsor such a great event. Now, for the junior division, it is specifically for teen ages 13 through 17 and is made possible through gifts from Kinross, Alaska and Alaska 529. Both of these organizations, through their community values, recognize and reward excellence. In addition to an AIC backpack full of goodies, a medal, or a ribbon, competitors will also receive cash prizes starting at $50 up to $1,000. This year, we received 30 entries into this division. After the preliminary round of evaluations by UAF and UAA students, 6 finalists were chosen. Each finalist has 3 minutes to make their presentation, followed by 3 minutes of questions from the judges. Competitors, please remember when presenting to watch your timing on the monitor. Judges will stop you if your time is up. To keep the microphone close to your mouth, and of course, most importantly, to look at the judges and not the screen. Up first to present will be Xander Dale with autonomous ocean mapping submarines. Now, just like the main income competitors, will the following team are individuals, please take a seat in order to my left once your idea is announced. First is booby traps, the koozie, greater than ice, a Tulak, the AI snow plowing vehicle, and lastly, the keyboard light legend. While the competitors make their way up here, please join me in welcoming the junior judges. Evan Wilkin, representing Mount McKinley Bank and the judges chair. Brian Crandall, from the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District. Michelle Dommel, with Fairbanks North Star Borough School District. And Russ Talvey, with the Alaska Small Business Development Center. Thank you, judges, for joining us today. Now, let's get started. Xander, the stage is yours.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alexander Daly. I'm in the 12th grade at Lathrop High. All right, so what is my problem? So I was doing some research and I found out that only about 5% of the ocean has been mapped. And that led me to the question, well, why haven't we learned more about our own planet when we're already shooting rockets up into space? And so my idea is to build a fleet of AI-controlled submarines that would be able to stay out at ocean nearly indefinitely and follow a pre-programmed path and map out the ocean seafloor. So how would this look? What would it be made of? So this submarine will be similar in size to the NR-1 H.I. Sutton submarine. It's about 40 meters in length, and this is the smallest nuclear-powered submarine that has been put into operation. And since cabin crew will not be required for my designs, it could potentially be shortened down to about 30 meters long. And so how is it going to map out the seafloor? So active sonar will be used to map out the seafloor to identify crevices and other seafloor attributes. And then passive sonar will listen for passing whales and other sea life. So sonar really damages sea life. I want to be aware of the ocean marine life and to be careful to not hurt them. And so once it's collected the data, it's going to rise to the surface and send it back, back home to be interpreted. So how is my design unique? So currently we've got just boats with active sonar mapping out the ocean floor. However, this is difficult because the sea is not a forgiving place, and it's rough, and it's difficult, and you know, people don't really care too much what's in the middle of the ocean if they're not actively drilling for oil. However, this could be a really cool thing just to see maybe we've got something deeper than the Mariana Trench, and that'd be super cool to find out. And so yeah, like I said, passive sonar will detect ocean life, and because sonar is really damaging, and we want to be able to protect them. So how would I make this into reality? I would collaborate with NATO to be able to get this to pass forward. I'd use Boston Dynamics to construct the AI and General Dynamics to construct the submarines. So who's the buyer and benefactor? This really isn't a business, this is more of a big research project, so it'd be funded by grants. In conclusion, this is a pretty huge idea that'll take lots of planning. So, yeah, time for questions.
Great, thank you for your presentation. I'm just wondering, what do you think is going to be the most difficult part of making the submarines a reality?
So I definitely think that the hardest part will be getting countries to work together to allow us to explore their oceans. And especially in this time right now with like issues with China and different countries, and getting agreements to explore what they've got is a really huge roadblock that we've got that would be really difficult to overcome. I think that's probably the hardest.
Already answered this question, but is nuclear going to be the
Yes, yeah. It'll be nuclear powered, so it'll be able to stay out at sea nearly indefinitely. Almost will never have to come back to shore. There'd be a fleet of a bunch of these, so it won't just be one submarine mapping the whole ocean, because that would take forever. So it'll be a bunch just going through the ocean and mapping out the floor and sending it back to the home.
Do you think it would have cameras and lights on it so that it could document what it sees while it's down there also?
It probably would not. It would probably just use sonar to get different height measurements of the seafloor. And once it gets that, then it can be sent back home to interpret it into maps to see the topography of the seafloor.
So you're pitching this as an autonomous submarine that would go out for a number of years, basically unsupervised, or would there be a surface ship in support
So
in
that's something I hadn't taken into consideration, but my idea had originally just been they'd be unsupervised, piloted by AI to determine when to map in case of ocean life. They detect, okay, there's some whales passing by, I'm not going to use active sonar because that can damage them. And once they pass through, then it'll determine, okay, all right, it's safe to start mapping again, and then it'll continue on its path. So it'll be AI driven, it'll make its decisions on what its surroundings are, whether to surface or to continue mapping.
When you were doing your research on this, did you run across information that might have supported that there are nations out there already doing a version of this?
I did not. I did not do a ton of research on what other people had been doing, mostly just because it's not a topic that a lot of people care too much about, but I just think it's a really interesting thing to know more about, the big blue ball that we are on, and try to take care of that and just see what we've got here.
Great, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Xander. Next, please welcome Michelle Comfort, Lauren Lynn Cooksey, Caitlin Gobb, and Chloe Metzinger to the stage, presenting Booby Traps.
Good afternoon, everyone. Gentlemen, I need you guys to raise your hands to answer this question. Who all has pockets? Now the ladies, do you guys have any pockets? Deep pockets? Perfect. We know. All right. Woo. I need you guys to paint a picture for me, or at least I'm gonna paint one for you. Ladies, you're in a gym, you're in yoga pants, you're in a sports bra, crop top, t-shirt. Here's the issue. You don't have pockets. A gentleman walks into the room. He's wearing a t-shirt, no shirt even. He has shorts, maybe sweatpants. Clearly he has pockets. Here's when we come in. I would like to introduce you to booby traps.
As many of the women in this room know, women already have many problems regarding clothing, especially in activewear, and that's where we come in trying to solve the biggest issue, no pockets. There are already a large amount of existing solutions. One of those being just stuffing things in your bra, which I know most women in this room have done. It's not very comfortable. I mean, you know it, I know it. The one in the back, I don't know about you, but I can't reach it. And then the one on the side, I imagine it being stinky. You know, that one day you forgot to wear deodorant? No, thank you. So in the gym, that's probably not very practical.
Our target audience would start at roughly 13 years old and go on into later life. Our issues that we are trying to eliminate in the industry is having to carry around a purse in the gym while moving around, having a bunch of items in your hand all the time, or just generally having your items in an inaccessible area. Our goal here is to bring comfort, accessibility, and convenience into the modern day workout bra.
As we mentioned, there are some solutions, but none of them have comfort, accessibility all in one place. That's where we have our prototype. As you can see, there's a pocket on the upper abdomen where you can put your phone, and there's a diagonal slit so your phone won't fall out while you're working out. There's also a pocket in the strap for your smaller items such as your keys, your lip balm, stuff like that. Also very easily accessible. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We would like to thank King Tech and UAF for supporting our trip here. And we would like to bring accessibility to women working out and going about their daily lives. Yep.
I was the only woman here. I get the first question. So now that you've developed this prototype, would you alter anything, or now that if you've had people try this out, would you alter this in any way?
As you know, bras aren't very comfortable. So with that aspect in mind, we would add padding specifically to the straps to make that more comfortable. We would also make the lining on the inside of the pocket waterproof so that any electronics that are going into that pocket are protected.
Have you tried any other fabric? Have you done different fabric?
So I have done quite a bit of research, or we have done quite a bit of research. We've noticed that majority of the most comfortable fabrics are either silk or like a spandexy yoga pant fabric. And that's mostly what we would make our bras out of, with adding a very cotton-like fabric to cushion all the seams as well.
When you were doing your research on the other items that are out there, the competitive items, what kind of price point did they have, and how does your product compare to that?
You may not know this, but a lot of bras, for women and just lingerie in general is normally like $50 or 30 to 50. With ours, since we are starting at a small business, we would range for like a $35, $40, mostly because we are adding more fabric than the normal bra, as well as just like comfortability and things that we know women want and need.
Thank you.
So just a clarifying question. You're saying that in your research you found other products that do have pockets on a similar garment, but this holds items better and more comfortably? Am I summing that up correctly?
So we initially designed it so that it wasn't in any uncomfortable areas. It's specifically along the upper abdomen, so when you bend over, you move. It's not going to fall out or get in the way of your movement. And we also designed extra pockets because it seems that the current solutions only have either one pocket designed for like a phone, or they don't have many different options. So.
Thank you for your presentation.
For our next idea, please welcome Jason Bro and Ivana Cho to the stage with the Koozie.
I'm tall enough, slightly. My name is Ivana Cho.
And I am Jason Bro.
Our project is the Koozie. Okay, so we've all drinking a soda, right? And usually they're not they stay cold, right? They don't stay cold for long because obviously the body heat from your hand is not going to keep it cold for very long. So you have it warm in your hand, say you're out on a barbecue, right? It's already the hot day. That's already not going to help you too much on keeping that cold. And it's not great stationary chill. You might want to put it back in a fridge, a cooler, but it's open. You don't want to really put that back in. It might spill, tip. There's a lot of different issues. And you have a regular koozie. They can only do so much for you. They don't insulate it too well. It's mostly just an appearance to help you kind of get it better. Oh. Where's the other slide?
It didn't update.
Oh, it did not update. Okay.
So our design is a very portable, small, condensed koozie that will be able to be handheld and hand-generated. It's hassle-free. It doesn't require batteries, using the refrigeration cycle and a low boiling point liquid to run refrigeration through small pipes in an insulated thing. And as long as you are holding the drink, it will stay cool and it will not cool down excessively if you set it down, as it has insulation. It will be profitable as it is needed around the world in warm areas to keep drinks cool, mainly during summer. You won't need it's not large and bulky and easily portable, so price of materials will be less. And it isn't constricted to any alcoholic drinks and is a right size for like soda cans, and you can make size variations easily, so it could fit any type of slides.
Okay, so our other slide disappeared, so I will tell you how this works. So the concept is a regular koozie about the same size, won't be too much larger. Inside is a refrigeration cycle, a condensed version. It's what runs your fridges. You're going to have a low boiling point liquid at the bottom, so the heat from your hand will start boiling it. It will run through a funnel, which in turn creates cool air. And then it runs through piping all around it to create the cooling feature. And it, of course, have insulation, not too much. It's going to be a right balance in between not having your hand be freezing, but still being able to keep this drink cold. And it won't have the price, not going to be too much. It's small, affordable things. The liquids we will use, there's many different options, and it's not specified to one really exotic type thing that's going to be expensive. There's many different options you can have for price points. And it's small, convenient, sleek, and you don't need to carry around big coolers. It's a cool new feature for the cooling of drinks. Any questions?
I was wondering about, is this for cans, or could bottles also be used, or is it just for aluminum cans?
It could be size variation. The first prototype we made that we don't have on us was can size, but we could also make future variations for bottles and other size cans and other beverage holders.
If the Coolsy gets too hot, could it get too cold and freeze the drink?
So that's the sweet spot we're talking about, is having enough insulation there and also keeping it to maybe designated areas within that it could register the heat. So it's not too much input for the entire can, like how you're saying of making it too cold. So we're going to find a nice balance point, preferably usually midpoint where your fingertips may rest, so it's not too much input overloading at once. It would be a nice balanced area.
So the material in the slide looked like it was a neoprene, something like that. Can you just explain a little more about what the material on the outside is and then how that plumbing?
So it would be more or less like a tumbler type material, rather than, it would be foam insulation inside, but it wouldn't be like how you see regular koozies now just being foam. It'd be almost a mix of materials from a koozie with a tumbler. It wouldn't be just foam.
Have you indeed made a prototype?
Not with working gas, but a size prototype.
Okay.
With not internal working systems, but the outline for internal working systems.
Okay. And the idea, again, is a low boiling point liquid, hypothetically something like methanol, that would boil from the heat of your hand. And then that self-circulates. There's no actual pump that requires batteries or...
Nothing, no extra need. It would just be from, it's like a concept of a hand boiler. You just put your hand there and then it happens. It's like how you said methanol could be used, and there's no batteries, no extra anything. It's just self-regulating from, other than like heat from your hand.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason and Ivana. Up next, please welcome Xander Dale and Jeffrey Goodard to the stage, presenting Greater Than Ice. Excuse us, we just have a little mix up here. Well, while we wait for them to kind of sort this out, we have had some really great ideas come up so far. And I'd just like to thank you, for everyone for kind of hanging up with us here. But again, what a great event we're having, and thank you again for staying with us. So actually, instead of Greater Than Ice, we are going to be presenting Angel Cruise with a Tulak, the AI snow plowing vehicle.
Hello, hello, hello. As you've been introduced, my name is Angel, and today I'm going to share with you an idea that I came up with in the shower. The world's first AI snowplowing vehicle. Now, one very common thing that we see in the theme here, especially with the weather, is snow, especially in the northern region. Now, one thing that we face difficulty with is dealing with the snow, especially in our roads and especially in businesses. Now, this thing is really slow. Now, this presents safety hazards, especially for vehicular travel, such as getting stuck, sliding, and worst of all, accidents. Now, one thing this could all be avoided with is increasing the efficiency of getting rid of the snow on our roads. Now, we do have people that are obviously hired for this type of job, but sometimes we just don't have enough people out there on the roads. We don't have enough people, to really get things done. Now, this idea isn't really as far-fetched as it seems, seeming we've came from, a long way since 2015 when Google released the Waymo, an autonomous driving car, and Tesla's current cars that they sell also have self-driving features. Now, we haven't really utilized autonomous driving for anything practical yet, and I think that this would be a great way to, bring benefit to us. Now, my target audience, I would be selling primarily B2B, so I would be selling to mostly businesses that have a critical need for removing snow on their properties, to operate their businesses. Now, airports have the most need for this type of product. And, they need snow cleared off their ways to fly and land safely. Now, this could bring increased efficiency to the workforce, especially in getting things done. And you could buy or rent this product. And this has infinite potential for scalability. And most important of all, it would be safer because snow-related work accidents happen every year. And here's my prototype drawing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for presenting that. I'm curious where the name Itulak comes from.
So Itulak is Tagalog for push. And, to plow snow, you have to, get a thing, push snow side of the road. I don't know. Just came up with it in the shower.
Came up with the idea in the shower, but is there a little bit more to that story? Like, why did you come up with this idea?
So, I really do not like driving, especially in Alaska, especially during the wintertime. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm a magnet for snow-related accidents. My car always gets stuck. I'm always getting hit. Somehow I'm always getting hit by people just sliding on the snow. I think if somebody was just there to do it for us, we wouldn't have such a problem with this, or I wouldn't have such a problem with this. Who can relate?
So I have a two-part question for you. One, in your research, do you know if anyone has tested self-driving vehicles in Arctic conditions yet?
No. Actually, I did do a little bit of research. Nobody has tested any autonomous driving vehicles in Arctic conditions, but there is a similar study. There is an autonomous snow blowing machine. You could set that up in the backyard. It's actually manufactured in Japan, but I'm not sure if they sell it here in the U.S.
So someone's done this on a small scale, kind of like a
Yeah.
Roomba for outside
Exactly.
for the driveway. My next question would be, would you propose using existing autonomous driving vehicles and attaching your own design of snow clearing equipment? Or are you thinking of doing this from scratch?
So, basically, I only brought up other autonomous driving vehicles to make an example that this can be done from scratch. It's not a very hard thing to do. I don't need to model, the vehicle exactly after Tesla or Google's technology. I'm pretty sure we could find way more efficient ways to get this working.
How do you see integrating the other variables like the depth of the snow plow and the speed and all that with autonomous driving?
So, in order for this to even get pushed out there, there needs to be numerous tests done. There needs to be constant working on the development of this technology. And I don't have exact calculations on how it would work, but there needs to be a lot of work done.
Great. Thank you, Angel.
Thank you, Angel. And again, apologies for the mix-up of presentations there. But now, please join me in welcoming Xander Dahl and Jeffrey Goddard presenting Greater Than Ice.
First, okay. All right, thank you. So my name is Jeffrey Goddard, and this is Xander Dawley.
Yep, I'm Xander Dally, as before. Hi again.
And so our idea is called the Ice Barrel, and our slogan was Greater Than Ice, and so that's what we titled the project. So here living in Alaska, obviously, like Angel stated before, there's a lot of unique challenges when it comes to traveling and driving. So we know that hardpack and ice on roads causes a lot of accidents, it's dangerous, and when accidents happen, there's a lot of costs to fix damages, and often people can get hurt.
Is this right? All right, so some key features of our design would be a big cylinder. There'd be some staggered teeth along it, and it would rotate along the road, scraping up, much like a cheese grater does, on the road to pull up that hard pack that's stuck on the road. And often we've seen, for example, I live up on the hill on Gilmore, and the roads are just horrible up there. And it's not just that there's lots of like fluffy snow, it's just hard packed ice. So our design would be able to really quickly just scrape that right off. And once the teeth are dull or break off, they can easily be removed and recycled to create more teeth.
So this is a concept design I made in Autodesk Inventor, and as you can see, it is a barrel. We'd make it out of sheet metal, and it would have these punched out teeth that would hold the actual small blades that would be screwed onto the barrel. And this would allow for the barrel to not be worn down as much because the teeth would be worn down rather than the actual blade. And so rather than having to replace the entire mechanism, you just have to replace those small parts, like Xander said, could be recycled. And so you get a side view and a top view, and then to put it all together, we have a corner view.
So who's going to benefit from this? Well, everybody that lives in a condition where there's icy and hard-packed roads can benefit from this. So yeah, it'll be able to remove ice from driveways, parking lots, anywhere where cars drive.
And so how it'll be made is it will be made out of sheet metal that will be curved into a cylinder and a drum. And the teeth will be made of hardened steel to scrape away at the ice. And a custom trailer will be built, and it will be pulled behind any small vehicle. What makes it unique is that you don't need a big, strong vehicle to pull it along. It spins on its own power so that it can be used by people along with big companies.
So why is this going to be successful? Well, our design, we want to keep the price under around $4,000. And standard commercial snowplows cost upwards of $5,000 and can be much, much more. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, this is the ice barrel. Thank you for listening. Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation. There's a lot of moving parts to this between the metal cylinder and the trailer and the motor. What do you think will be the hardest to put together?
I think one of the hardest part will be finding a way to manufacture it because it is obviously a bit larger. Our estimate is about 10 feet wide, and so that is a lot of sheet metal, and that will need to be assembled and put together. And so I think that would probably be one of the most challenging parts is the drum itself aside, and then parts like the trailer or the motor that would turn it would be less difficult.
So I think part of the challenge, and I'm not an expert in this at all, but part of the challenge in snow removal would be to remove the snow without damaging the road surface. So have you guys considered this at all as far as this grading up the road itself?
Yeah, so we were thinking about this, and a lot of troubles that we have right now is that our main way we get snow and a hard pack off the road is just through sheer pressure, applying so much pressure to that ice that it just breaks off. And that can be really damaging to the road because, you know, the plows don't care if it's just the hard asphalt or if it's the ice. It's going to be applying that same pressure. However, our design is able to be raised and lowered depending on where the ice is and where the road is. So it's not just going to be grinding on the asphalt or yeah, so it can be adjustable to height.
In addition to that, last year we were doing some research and we actually talked to one of the leading authorities at DOT here in Alaska, and we discovered that through talking to them, one of their major concerns is a lot less about the road, but also about the blade and the condition of the big machinery that they use. That is often more the danger or the thing that will often more break.
What do you guys see as your next step to commercializing this idea?
So we'd have to continue talking to the DOT about their needs and what they would like put together, but also just continue prototyping, working out designs, and like we've modeled the actual the drum, but we haven't modeled the trailer yet. So we'd like to continue modeling and prototyping and building ideas to improve on it.
Great. Thank you guys for your presentation.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Xandar and Jeffrey. Now, for our final presentation today for this division, please welcome Timothy Hall, presenting the Keyboard Light Legend.
Hello everyone. My name is Timothy Hall, and this is my presentation on the Keyboard Light Legend. Now, there's a keyboard shortcut for almost every action on almost every computer application you can think of. As a matter of fact, for one computer-assisted design software that we use in our classroom at Lato sometimes, this is how many possible shortcuts there are. And this is double-sided too. It's ridiculous. Now, most of these go unnoticed, potentially slowing down one's workflow. And this becomes an even bigger issue if you want to use entirely different character sets. So if you want to like switch languages, it becomes a huge problem because you have to remember every character at once in order to type letters and sentences. And so there are possible solutions to this. Oh, whoops. Oh, there you go. Okay. So you could attempt to remember all of these. That's extremely impractical and nearly impossible. And there were in-screen keyboards with a screen in every single key, but they don't exist anymore, and they're over $1,000, which is why I came up with an external solution called the Keyboard Light Legend. This plugs into the computer using a USB on the back of it, and it has a screen inside, and depending on what buttons you're holding down or what application you're using, it'll switch the projection to be whatever you need. So any shortcut, any letter, any action. And so with the Keyboard Light Legend, you'll be able to have completely physical toolbars with applications such as Adobe Illustrator. When you switch a language in your computer, you don't have to remember the keys because they'll be projected there for you. And so no longer will you have to go pull up menus for anything, not even things like aligning text or generating symbols. And to shine some light on viability, this is just a small projector, meaning that it would be manufactured as such, making it less than $100, which is less than 10% of what the in-screen keyboard's price is. And this makes it way more accessible for the average computer user this is targeted towards. And the universal compatibility among all the different things it can project make it a very attractive choice for companies and investors to financially back. Oh, whoops. All right, so to conclude, the Keyboard Light Legend can reinvent something right in front of you. So whether you want your keyboard to function as a soundboard, a calculator, or even just a normal language typer, the Keyboard Light Legend will shine a light on what you'll be able to do in the modern digital workspace.
Perfect. Thank you for your presentation. So most of my experience with projectors are in a dark movie theater. Are you going to need to be in a dark room to be able to see the projector on the keyboard?
You do not. So I've been testing light on the keyboards, and you get some good reflection off of them. And due to it being such a small keyboard, being so close, due to the projector being so small and being so close to the keyboard, you're able to generate a lot of light at once, which will overpower any regular source of light, like the chandeliers. The only way I can see it becoming an issue is if you have these lights here, which are pretty bright. But in normal conditions, it'll definitely show them.
So to be sure I understand the design, is the projector just projecting on the desk or the table itself and then reading your finger motions, or is it projecting onto an existing keyboard but changing what you see on the keys?
It projects onto an already existing keyboard.
Who do you think the most users will be? Did you try this with anyone? Any certain, when I was noticing that you had a couple different programs put up there. Did you try them with any of those, like Adobe Illustrator or any?
No, those were just representations of examples of what the keyboard would look like when you open up those programs. And the prototype right there, that's just so you can get a sense of size for it. So I haven't made an actual model, but I have spoken to people about it, and a lot of people have said that it'd be very helpful for them. So.
Would the keyboard and the projector be a unit that a person would purchase together because of the variability in keyboards out there right now?
Great question. So the way this works is that when you plug the Keyboard Light Legend into the computer, you'll be able to select what keyboard model you have. And so when you select the model, it'll space out all the projections to the keyboard. And since you only buy the Light Legend on its own, because it's meant to be used with a keyboard you already own, such as the one down there. The one down there is not affiliated in any way, but I got it, and it would project onto it. So.
One last quick question. Do you think it could be used to teach people how to type also?
I think that it could.
Awesome. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Timothy. And of course, thank you to our top 6 junior finalists. How about a round of applause for them? Judges, you are now welcome to head to the deliberation room. As the judges make some important decisions that will take us into the award ceremony, we'd like to hear from two special people who have some important information to share with the competitors. First, we will hear from UAF Chancellor Dan White. Did you know that Chancellor White was named the Engineer of the Year for 2022 by the Alaska Society of Professional Engineers for his engineering achievements, professional service, and civil and humanitarian activities of an Alaskan engineer? He is also the leader and change agent at UAF and takes great pride in our prosperous and fulfilling lives in a state with a competitive and sustainable economy. The Arctic Innovation Competition is an ideal way to fulfill that mission. Please welcome Chancellor Dan White.
Well, thank you, and thanks everyone for being here. 14 years, so this has been going on for 14 years, and I remember the first year, and it's grown, and I believe this is the biggest Arctic Innovation Competition that we've ever had, so congratulations and thank you. And I want to thank the College of Business and Security Management volunteers. If you're so let's see, how will you identify yourself? We'll just say go Nooks, Nanooks, for those of you from out of town, we're the Alaska Nanooks. If you are a CBSM volunteer, can you just shout out go Nooks or something so you can be recognized? All right. And the one person that's been with the Arctic Innovation Competition all 14 years and is responsible for its smooth operation every year, and she's over there at the sound booth, so I'm going to, Tammy Tragus McCook. Okay. In case you weren't paying attention, that you're supposed to say go Nooks. Oh, go Nooks! All right, thank you. Okay, so normally I say welcome to UAF, and we're not physically on UAF's campus right now, but I hope, I'll welcome you to UAF anyway, and I hope that while you're here in town, if you're from out of town, that you'll stop by campus and take a tour. Check out the new engineering building. When we built that building, I've been here almost 30 years, and we started designing that building about 15 years ago with the intent on it being a space for innovation. And we had all kinds of different locations on campus for this new engineering building that we were considering. And what we thought was what the best thing for innovation would be to have engineers talk to business majors. And if they talk, we could get some real ideas flowing and out there into the marketplace. And so we squeezed a new engineering building in between the old engineering building and the business school and put spaces right in the entry for innovation. And if you walk into that atrium, which is called the Usibelli coal mine atrium, on the left there's an innovation space, there's 3D printers, and that's where a lot of the work is, a lot of work you can easily see is done. I am seeing a lot of future Nanooks out there. I actually see some past Nanooks and some current Nanooks out there. So if you're a past, well, you're never past Nanook. If you are a Nanook that already graduated, or you're currently a Nanook, or you're a future Nanook, even I see some really young Nanooks out there, so you're on a long-term plan, just say go next and we'll just, oh, that's a lot. That's awesome. All right, great. Thank you. And one of the things that I learned as an engineering professor and just as a person is that every day you innovate. And I think about, and I was in charge of the UAF's intellectual property portfolio for about 5 years, where we did a lot of protection of intellectual property and commercialization and created some startup companies. 30 years ago, 28 years ago when I started, I taught classes with 100 engineers, 100 new engineers. And the first project they had when they came into class was to split up into teams and just think of something that's a challenge and what their solution would be as an engineer. And I remember one of the teams, there's two things that I remember, projects that I remember. One of the teams said, well, one of the problems is you walk out of the grocery store and you got a armful of stuff and you can't get in your car without setting the stuff down. Wouldn't it be great if you could just wave your foot under the back bumper and it unlocked and opened the back door? This was 30 years ago. And, so they solved that. They put a sensor on there that was connected to unlocking the door and opening the door hands-free. And you can buy that right now in lots of different vehicles. It took the automotive industry 25 years to put that in a car. Our student engineers just thought, that would be an easy solution. They created one. And, the key there is as you think about these things, every day you're innovating, you're solving problems. Put those to work. If we didn't do it then, because I didn't know everything I know now about intellectual property, but if they'd gone to a car company, I think that would have been in your car 20 years ago. And the other one that I remember was ice buildup on your windshield. And the team came up, rather than have a rubber windshield wiper, have a bladed windshield wiper with very sharp razor blades on it. Yeah, that one still we haven't seen, and probably for all of our own good never will. So I'm happy about that. But everything that you think about, you innovate, is called intellectual property. Property meaning has value. And so the faster that you can get that into commercialization, into people's hands, talk to a business school person, figure out how to get that into people's hands, because it helps everyone. And it has value to you. It has commercial money value to you, and it's value to everyone. So speaking of innovation, there are some pretty innovative companies. And one of the innovative companies in Alaska is Usibelli Coal Mine. And Usibelli Coal Mine, I know, is an innovative company because they've been in business for 75 years here in the interior. And I just remember going down for the 75-year anniversary 5 years ago. And I have this policy of not doing public math. But it was 80 years ago. And all 80 years has been a partnership with UAF, and we're really grateful for that. And I know the way they stay innovative is by hiring innovative people. And one of those innovative people is Lisa Casino, who has been for 20 years, am I allowed to say that? For 20 years, is it 25? No, okay. For 20 years, an advocate, friend, and volunteer at UAF. She is on the CBSM, College of Business and Security Management Advisory Council, and is a huge fan of the Arctic Innovation Competition. And as an innovative person and as an innovative company, sponsoring something like this, her advocacy, her volunteering is a way to pay back and also pay forward. So thank you, Lisa, for all of your contributions. She is, and actually I think you've got a student coming to UAF through the North Star Middle College. Is that right? Is there anyone else in here who's part of the North Star Middle College? If you are, just say go Nucks. Okay, let me do this. Is there anyone out there who's not, if you're not going to the North Star Middle College, just say go Nucks anyway. Go Nucks! All right, well, okay. All right. That makes me feel good. Makes my heart warm. Please welcome Lisa Casino up. Lisa, thank you so much for your sponsorship and advocacy.
Go Nucks.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Dan. Good thing I was holding your hand. Safety first. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I don't know that it's been 20 years. It's actually been 17 years that I've been supporting UAF. Tammy's trying to age me a little bit. But I think it's so awesome to be back here in person. I've been supporting AIC for a number of years, and when I first pitched this to my boss, I said, we need to be at the table, and we need to be participating in this. Our mine is about 115 miles away. We're on the road system, fortunately, but if something breaks at the mine, our guys have to be super resilient, creative, problem-solving, because if we're not producing, we're not shipping coal to Fairbanks, there's not coal in the power plants, and heat and power are the one thing you really can't live without in Fairbanks, Alaska. So that's why we support Arctic Innovation. We support the projects, the ideas, the process, the experience that it gives entrepreneurs, young and old, to participate. And Joe Usibelli and the Usibelli family are really true philanthropists. And so it makes my job really easy because I get to hand out a lot of money and represent the coal mine and our Usibelli Foundation all the time. And the university has always been kind of the backbone of why we give and where we give. We're proud to partner with the College of Business and Security Management. This is, I think, our 7th year being the presenting sponsor. But if you look at the sign over here, and it's been on the slides all day too, there have been a number of other businesses in the community that have supported it for all 14 years as well. So I would love to thank the businesses that have contributed to Arctic Innovation Competition. It really does offer a unique opportunity for all of those in our community and our state, and we've even had competitors from out of Alaska participate in this because it's a unique competition. So thank you to our sponsors. And then to our volunteers, there are many, many, many hours that go into planning this event. What you see here is just a fraction of what they do. They have to evaluate the hundreds of proposals and nominations that come in, rate them, and then really have the hard decision of who makes it to the top. And so thank you to the judges. It's been almost 100 volunteers this year putting this event on. And a lot of the past AIC competitors really talk about how the feedback they get from the judges, this process in general helps them really bring their product, their idea to the next level. So please join me in thanking our AIC judges. If you're in the room, raise your hand. And then to our students, do we have, are they all, they might not even be in the room. Do we have any students that are working on AIC here in the room? Yes, they're all still working, but they are actually the glue between the sponsors and the judges and the staff. So my hat's off to the amazing students that have gotten the courage to come up here and publicly speak today. If it's been your first time, you guys did amazing. And just the professionalism that you guys do to work and help put on AIC. So thank you. And so now we get to do some fun things. AIC teams here, everybody here is a winner for just making it through to this process. It's incredible. But all of you have the opportunity to win some really great prizes as well. So you should have received a door prize ticket when you came in. You can go ahead and pull those out. And I've got 2 students that are coming up to join me on stage. So do you guys have the bucket? All right. And then Maro, where's Maro at? She is in the back here. So if your name is called, you can see her to collect your door prize. And let's see, we're gonna just share this microphone up here because you guys are gonna do the reading and I'll do the polling. Here's your special bucket.
I guess I didn't need to bring mine. Just set it down.
You just gonna hold it or throw it on the table?
What are we doing up here?
Alrighty, who's ready to win some prizes? All right, our first prize is a family pass to the Fairbanks Children's Museum, a place for families to connect through the play.
Kathleen Hook, one of our judges. Here's Kathleen.
Next, we have the second family pass to the Fairbanks Children's Museum.
It's going to be Mike Hendricks.
Next, we have a pair of tickets for the Riverboat Discovery, taking you on a tour in the heart of Fairbanks.
We have Abigail Warner.
Our next prize is 2 vouchers for Gold Dredge 8, a mining tour, all-encompassing tour that also features the Trans-Alaska Pipeline and a replica of the Tanana Valley Railroad.
That's going to go to Tristan Morgan.
Next, we have 2 pairs of 1-hour passes to Fly Trampoline Park, where you can take off into the sky at Fairbanks' 24,000 square foot trampoline adventure complex. 2 tickets.
Am I doing one of those or 2 of those? 2 pairs. 2 pairs. Okay, first pair is going to go to Chloe Metzger. And the second pair is going to go to one of my favorite bankers, Jim Cully.
Next, we have a pair of tickets for the Fountainhead Antique Auto Museum, noted as one of the best auto museums in the world among auto enthusiasts.
It's right here, actually, right over there, yeah. Joy Baird.
Safety is a core value of our presenting sponsor, Usibelli Coal Mine. The mine wants you to safely enjoy this summer in this fun camping chair, wherever it is.
Right there. There it is. That's going to go to Bradley Rowe. Okay, and I have the pleasure of pulling the big door prize today. Alaska is definitely one of the best states. It is the best state in the nation. But sometimes when we have the 7th winter approaching, you might want to leave the state of Alaska. So we have, what is it, 1 ticket? Is it just a ticket, Tammy? What is it? 1 ticket? Anywhere Alaska Airlines flies. It says ticket singular. Serena Allen. That's awesome. Okay, well, congratulations to all of our winners. Can I give this to you? And you may have seen CBSM students Skylar and Angelica online during the main division semifinals last week or working behind the scenes today. They are going to be ready. Are you guys in the room? Oh, they're over here. They are ready to announce the AIC fan favorite winners. I'm going to help by giving out some amazing little Lego trophies and checks. And so all of our competitors know we're getting ready to go into the winning for all of our categories. We're not going to do photos. If you've been here before, we usually do the grip and grins and the photos up here. We're going to do all of the photos right next door after the presentation. So if you are a winner and you've presented today, please don't leave. We're going to go right next door and take all of the photos. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Skylar and Angelica.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm Skylar. This is Angelica. We're both student marketing assistants with CBSM, the College of Business and Security Management. We help with social media and marketing and events. Watching the fan favorite votes come in is my favorite thing to do during AIC. It's so much fun. And so with the Chris Maroc All-State Fan Favorite Award voting was available online this week for the public to share which idea was their favorite in each division. These winning ideas receive $100 in cash and maybe most fun of all, a unique Lego trophy. Isn't it adorable? It's so cute. Some of these competitors received thousands of votes. Yeah, a lot, I know, right?
Competitors, please come up to the stage to accept your trophy and return to your seat. I am honored to announce that the Cub fan favorite winner is, can I get a drum roll, please? It is Phoebe Miller, Merrick Warner, and Boyce Dirks with Boyce 1.0. Congratulations, team. You did an amazing job presenting today, as you found a solution to one of our everyday challenges. Skylar, would you like to announce the Junior Division fan favorite?
Absolutely. It was a race to the end to see which idea would come up first, or on top. But in the end, the winner was, drum roll please, Timothy Hall and the idea the Keyboard Light Legend. Congratulations.
Last but certainly not least, the main division fan favorite. The main fan favorite winner is Serena Allen and her team with Airy Cherry. Airy Cherry came out swinging, logged over 60 votes just on the first day. Thank you to Chris Merrick at Allstate Insurance for hosting the fan favorites. The public has been heard.
Thank you, Lisa, but we'll have you back on the stage soon. Next up, we have a very special guest. I would like to introduce Lathrop High School math teacher and 2019 third place AIC winner, Chris Benshoff. Many of Chris's students enter AIC each year. Chris is going to share why he encourages innovation and creativity in his classroom. Thank you, Chris. It's wonderful to hear and encourage your innovation in classes. And if you would stay right here, I believe you have a special presentation.
Yeah, with somebody, I think. Thank you. This is a fun room. I know quite a few people here. So for those that don't, my name is Chris Benshoff. I teach engineering and computer science and statistics at Lathrop High School. And my background is actually math and econ. And so when I started teaching engineering at Lathrop about 8 years ago, I was looking for some kind of engineering program to get my students connected to an Arctic innovation, and ended up being one of those things. And it's been a great experience for that whole time, and again this year. First, obviously, a thank you to the sponsors. I know Usibelli and also GCI and Kinross have been sponsors for a long time. Many organizations have. I was pleasantly surprised to see Shannon and Wilson up there. They've probably done this for a long time. I just didn't know. But I worked for Shannon and Wilson when I was a student at the university, going to school here at UAF. So it's great to see all those connections come together. What I love most about the Arctic Innovation Competition, especially for the junior and cub division, is that it doesn't require physical prototype. A prototype, of course, is a wonderful thing, and when we get something working, that's great. But I love that this program in particular is willing to support and encourage, and then also reward people who just have cool ideas and are able to communicate them well. That ends up being, I think, one of the biggest challenges, especially for students in my classroom. We teach a wide range of different classes at Lathrop. I teach robotics and 3D modeling design class, civil engineering and architecture, digital electronics, aerospace engineering, programming and computer science, statistics. I think one of the judges was actually in my stats class not too long ago. And then also a senior engineering class. And in all those, a lot of students will have great ideas, and they start out with a lot of enthusiasm and say, well, we could do this. And then once they realize that building it would be a challenge, their enthusiasm kind of dips a little bit because maybe they don't know how to do those first things. And so it's great that this program is able to encourage just cool ideas and good communication. It was mentioned a few years ago, I presented a project here that we called the Class Pass system. It was actually initially designed by students at Lathrop, and then I helped pull the thing together. It is an Arduino-controlled, RFID-enabled hall pass system. And we've used it for a long time in the classroom. It's currently on the fritz because of power supply issues, but that's technology. We talked about trying to expand it around the school, and there were concerns about the maintenance of the system. And so it didn't quite get that far, but the idea never went away. And so actually in the next week or two, the high schools in Fairbanks are all about to implement that kind of system school-wide. And we'll see how that works and see if it continues into the future. The students don't know about that yet. It's going to be exciting. I think it's good. But the Arctic Innovation Design Competition has been great for introducing the engineering process to students sort of all ages. And 5 years ago, I think it was 5 years ago, you got a chance to hear from one of our students, Jace Henry. He and his partner had a plan to make an Uber-style app for school buses so that students and parents could communicate with bus drivers during pickup and drop-off times, that kind of thing. And he presented that, did well. I think he got second place and continued taking engineering classes. Now he's at Dartmouth, getting a degree in civil engineering. I think 3 or 4 years ago, we heard from Luke Millam, who was first or second. He had an idea of using hemp fibers in ice to create stronger ice structures like bridges and roads for roadways up north. He actually ended up getting a patent for his idea, took more engineering classes, computer science stats, and now he's getting his degree in civil or mechanical engineering from UC Berkeley. Last year's winners included, it was a group of 4 students, 2 of whom, Phoebe Xu and Hannah Chang, were connected to the Lathrop engineering program as well. They had an idea for clearing snow and ice off of roofs, because last year we were all dealing with that. I think Hannah just got accepted to Columbia, and Phoebe's headed to MIT in the fall. So to the Cub presenters and the junior presenters, you sit on the laps of giants, as I like to say, and are headed to big things. So that's wonderful, and this program helps make that possible. So of course, thank you to the volunteers and the sponsors that make it happen, but I really appreciate that our Fairbanks community and the Alaska community is willing to put money behind a program that just encourages great ideas. I think that is a very Fairbanks thing, a very Alaskan thing, and this has continued to be good for the many, many years it's been happening. Hopefully that continues into the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. It was wonderful to hear your impact that you have in classrooms, especially with innovation. Alaska 529 is an educational savings plan designed to make it easy for parents and loved ones to save for education. All Cub and Junior ideas placing 1st through 3rd in AIC will receive $2,000 for their educational account. The Alaska 529 College Savings Fund can be used at any college, but we sure hope the winners consider becoming Nanuks and attending UAF. Additionally, all AIC youth competitors who submitted an idea and were not selected for the finals were eligible to receive one randomly selected $2,000 college savings scholarship. Let's get that checked, Chris, and let me do the honors, since I believe the recipient is one of your students. Awesome. Where? Come on over, Chris.
So I think our student's here, but we can present this to James Ikada, $2,000.
Congratulations, James. Joining us today is Lael Oldmixon, the Program Director for Alaska 529. Lael, will you please come up for the next presentation? Chris, we need you to stay here as well. Last year, Alaska 529 started the Classroom of the Future Award. This $2,000 award goes to a teacher of a Cub or Junior competitor who submitted an idea as part of a class project, chosen at random. 14 submissions name Chris Benshoff as their teacher this year. Chris, you are invited to join us today, not only to share what happened in your classroom, but also because you are the recipient of the Alaska 529 Classroom of the Future Award. Congratulations. Thank you, Lael. You will also want to stay by because there are 6 more Alaska 529 awards to present in just a moment. Sorry about that. We can feel the anticipation growing, can't we? So, Lisa, we will pass it back to you to announce the rankings in the Cub division for youth ages 12 and under.
All right, are the Cubs ready to find out who the big winners are? Thanks, Angelica. Will Chancellor White, Mark Herman, I have a hard time not calling him Dean anymore, and Alex Pacho, would you please come up from Kinross? And then Lael, you're up here, great. I'm going to just give a quick explanation of how the award ceremony is going to work. And so when you come up, the competitors, you'll just come up on stage here, get your check and any of the goods. I think we've got medals and ribbons, shake hands, and then like I mentioned earlier, we'll then go next door to take photos after the ceremony's over. Okay, Tammy, are you ready? The man behind the curtain, the woman behind the curtain, the team behind the curtain. Okay, so the AIC Cub Honorable Mentions receiving $50 and ribbons are the following. Jackson Butler with the Fracinator, Bradley Rowe with his snow cone machine, and Revy Conley for his Waste to Wonder idea. Oh, yep, okay, great. I'll read Jackson Butler with the Fracinator. Bradley Rowe with his snow cone machine. You guys can shake their hand. You might need to lead the shaking of the hands. And Revy Conley with his Waste to Wonder idea. Lael's not following instructions. I said you're not following my instructions. Just kidding. Okay, so the third place AIC winner receiving $200 cash and an Alaska 529 award and a medal is Winder Wheel, submitted by Reed Gregg, Lev Chernick, Odin Baird, and Colt Skinner. Nice job, guys. We're going to do pictures. Yeah, we'll do pictures in the room next door right afterwards. So keep all your goodies together. Okay, well, when I announce the second place, it's going to be obvious who third place is, and the cat will be out of the bag. But second place, receiving $300 and an Alaska 529 award and a medal, is Boyce 1.0, submitted by Phoebe Milley, Merrick Warner, and Boyce Dirks. Who wants the money? Awesome job. And your medals. Oh, okay. Stand by. I don't know any jokes. Who's got a joke? Who has a really good dad joke? I don't have dad jokes. Yeah. But Lael just came back from running the Boston Marathon right here. Chancellor, you got anything? Go Nooks?
I do have a question.
Oh, gosh.
And that question is, which rifle team won the national championship this year? All right. And which rifle team is the winningest team in the history of NCAA sports? That's right, UAF's rifle team, and they just won the national championship. I know I owe them some stuff. So I have one other quick question, and that is, who's been to the UAF museum? Okay. Yeah, thank you, whoever said that. Thank you, Tara. All right, who's been to the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C.? Ooh. Natural history. Okay, so which museum, the Smithsonian or the UAF Museum of the North, which one has more marine mammal specimens? Go Nooks, that's right, UAF's Museum of the North. Now, just a fun fact for you that UAF's Museum of the North has more marine mammal specimens than the Smithsonian and the next 4 largest museums combined in the whole country. Pretty amazing. So come up and see it sometime. 3 million artifacts in that museum. Can I keep talking?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not
3
getting
million
the
artifacts
okay sign from
in that museum. And 3 million's an interesting number because we have our new 20 megawatt power plant and heating plant that is powered by Usibelli coal. We heat 3 million square feet of space for our students to work and play in. So thank you.
Who said you can't give a microphone to an engineer? Okay, I'm getting the 2 thumbs up now. Do we have all of our goods?
We have enough to keep going.
Okay. All right, well, the secret's out. So Denali, yes, Denali Walrath, the Animal Alert, is claiming first place this year. She is getting $500 and an Alaska 529 award and a medal, and claiming everything. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not Denali's first time here, so she's a repeat competitor. Congratulations. So I just wanted to say, if you don't win a prize here today, or you don't place in the top 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, please don't stop thinking and creating and innovating, because we've had so many competitors that entered the first time and maybe just got their feet wet, then they entered a second time and they won the $10,000 prize, and then they have come back and they've submitted different ideas. So just because you didn't place, be proud of the work that you did, and keep thinking, keep creative, problem solving, and innovating. It's been an honor to announce the Cub Division winners. Congratulations to everyone. I'm going to pass it over to Pearson. He's going to come up and announce the junior winners.
Thank you, Lisa. Now, how exciting was that? No, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of want to keep building off of that momentum. So, juniors, are you guys ready? All right. So, real quick, I am going to mention the ARC Junior Honorable Mentions, who will be also receiving $50 and ribbons. Sorry, excuse me, I lost my place. So, for the first honorable mention is Xander Dolly with Autonomous Ocean Mapping Submarines. The next honorable mention is Ivana Cho and Jason Bro with the Coolsey. And the last honorable mention is Angel Cruz with a TULAC, the Artificial Intelligence Snow Plowing Vehicle. All right, now to start off, the third place AIC Junior Idea, who is receiving $400, an Alaska 529 award, and a medal, is Timothy Hall with the Keyboard Light Legend. Now, with 2 spots left, then the second place AIC Junior Idea, who is receiving $500, Alaska 529 award, and a medal. Building suspense here. Booby traps. All right, and for our first place, for the Junior Idea collecting the top prize of $1,000, an Alaskan 529 award, and a medal, is Greater Than Ice. Again, congratulations to the AIC Junior and Cub competitors. Of course, also thank you to Kinross Alaska and Alaska 529 for sponsoring the youth division and encouraging innovation on K-12 education. On stage, if Lael and Alex would like to join the audience and get ready for the photo shoot, we'll have Lisa join Chancellor White and Mark Herman up front. Excuse me. Ayana, it is now time to announce the main division winners.
Good. All right. Let's finish the awards by announcing placement in the main division for adults 18 and over. The first round of awards are honorable mentions, receiving $100 and bragging rights. You made the top 10. Some of the competitors were not able to join us today, but if you are here, please come up as I call your name. Please stay on stage until all names are called so we can give a big round of applause. Cruz Collins with 4 Elements Hybrid Energy System. Chris Hunter, who was the very first AIC champion in 2009 with Bioreactor Air Filtration Biofuel Generator. Brad Schmitz with Alaska English Adventures. Orly Knudsen, Christopher Ramey, Michael Hendricks, Amy McPherson with Collaborative Field Data Collection Solution. Mamie Brown, and Casey Leaker. Any of you guys here today? Awesome. Awesome. Let's give these competitors the big round of applause they deserve. All right, now we're going to move on to the $2,000 specialty kicker prizes. The rule states that a competitor who wins a kicker may or may not also win the top prize. May I get Jim Coley and David Sandberg to come up and stand with the AIC staff as you help with some of these awards. Awesome. Starting with the Alaska Student Kicker, sponsored by Mount McKinley Bank, for Best Idea submitted by an Alaska University student from any Alaska University. Jim, would you like to do the honors? Yep. I guess so.
All right. For the Alaska Student Kicker, we have Collaborative Field Data Collection Solutions, Orly Knudsen, Christopher Ramey, Michael Hendricks, and Amy McPherson. If you could please come up.
Congratulations. The next kicker prize is sponsored by the Educational Legacy Fund. The Sustainability Kicker recognizes an innovation that encourages or supports sustainability. And the sustainability winner is Innovating Accessible, Affordable, and Alaskan-Specific Legal Products, presented by Mamie Brown. Congratulations. All right, the third kicker prize is sponsored by Alaska EPSCoR. I believe Tara Borland is here representing Alaska EPSCoR. If she would like to give a little wave. Awesome. The Climate Adaptation Kicker is awarded to the best idea that prepares for and adjusts to current or expected climate change and its effects. The winner is, sorry if I mispronounced this, Skilak Outdoor Gear Rifle Dry Bag, presented by Casey Leaker. She is not here today. All right, and the final kicker award is the Arctic Kicker, sponsored by Respect. This award is given to new innovation that is sustainable, efficient, and makes living in the Arctic easier. David Sandberg will present the check to this year's winner.
All right, so the winner of this year's Arctic Kicker Award is Airy Cherry, Solution to Outdoor Air Pollution.
Congratulations. Thank you, Jim and David. Who is ready to find out the winners of the 2023 UAF Arctic Innovation Competition Main Division? I don't know the winners, so can I please have the sheet? All right. Receiving $2,500 and a medal, the fourth place recipient is Optogenetic 3D Bioprinter by Eleanor Locke. Great job, Eleanor. All right, the third place winner receiving $3,500 is Get By Ink by Demetrius Alexiandis.
Oh.
That was my fault. They didn't write it in order. Okay, sorry. Third place is Fireproofing Your Grill by Robert Warner. Oh, yes. Hopefully I don't get fired. Okay. Anyways. Second place is Get By Ink by Demetrius. Awesome. There is no more mystery. Congratulations to Demetrius. The $15,000 grand prize champion in the AIC main division is Airy Cherry Solution to Outdoor Air Pollution. Presented by Serena Allen for her team. Awesome. Congratulations, Serena. What an exciting day we had today. While competitors are getting official photos taken, please enjoy the food and beverages provided by Usibelli Coal Mine and mingle with the AIC competitors once photos are done. Thank you for attending, and we'll see you next year. We'll start with photos with the Cub division, followed by Junior, and then the main division. If all the Cub competitors will please move into the next room, let's get your official photos taken.